Tonight, we're diving into the complete history of the wizarding world. This is a fascinating topic, but I'll keep my narration calm to ensure you can still drift off to sleep. Thank you to those of you who've been joining us consistently. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment night 1. Now back to the video. Imagine a world that exists in the shadows of our own. A world where the impossible is merely a matter of practice and where the history of humanity is intertwined with a secret lineage of magic users. We often think of the story of the boy who lived as a 7-year journey, beginning with a letter delivered by an owl. But the true narrative spans over 1,000 years of triumphs, betrayals, and ancient pacts. Long before a Dark Lord ever thought to split his soul, 4 legends met on a wild moor to build a sanctuary that would change the course of history. They didn't just build a school, they built a bastion of survival in an era when the line between a miracle and a curse was thin enough to burn. The stakes of this history are nothing less than the soul of magic itself. We are looking at a society that was forced to choose between total war with the non-magical world or a permanent life in the shadows. This choice gave birth to the international statute of wizarding secrecy, a law so profound that it reshaped the geography of our planet, hiding entire villages, streets, and institutions behind veils of enchantment. It created a government that would eventually grow so bureaucratic and fearful that it paved the way for the very darkness it sought to prevent. To understand why a boy in a cupboard under the stairs was the only hope for this world, we have to understand the centuries of blood purity prejudice and the rise of 2 of the most dangerous wizards to ever draw breath. The mystery lies in the artifacts and the legacies left behind. How did a goblin-forged sword become a symbol of true worth? What drove a brilliant young man like Tom Riddle to fear death so much that he became something less than human? And what happened in the centuries of silence during the Goblin rebellions and the classification of the unforgivable curses that set the stage for the final prophecy? We are going back to the 10th century, to the founding of Hogwarts, and following the thread of magic through the Dark Ages, the Enlightenment, and the global wizarding wars, until we reach the moment that changed everything on a cold October night in Godric's Hollow. The foundations of this world were laid by Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. Their vision was one of education and protection, yet within their very first meeting, the seeds of a 1,000-year conflict were sown. It was a time when wizards lived among muggles, sometimes as advisors, sometimes as outcasts, but always with the looming threat of discovery. As we peel back the layers of this history, we find a world that is as beautiful as it is dangerous, governed by laws that are as ancient as the stars, and as fragile as a glass orb in a hall of prophecy. We must look at the way the wizarding world organized itself, from the early Wizards' Council to the formation of the Ministry of Magic under Ulick Gamp. We must explore the dark corridors of Azkaban and the terrifying power of the Dementors, who were once mere guardians of a fortress before becoming the jailers of the magical world. We will trace the lineage of the Peverell brothers and the 3 objects that promise to make their master the conqueror of death. We will see how a young Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald once dreamt of a world where wizards ruled for the greater good, only for that dream to shatter in a duel that would haunt the 20th century. The story of the wizarding world is not just a collection of dates and names. It is a tapestry of choices. It is the story of how love can be the most powerful magic of all, and how the fear of the unknown can drive even the wisest leaders to madness. It is a story that spans continents, from the wandless magic of Ouagadougou in Africa to the hidden halls of Ilvermorny in the shadows of Mount Greylock. Every spell cast and every potion brewed is a part of this grand design. As we begin this journey, let the weight of the centuries settle around you. We are going back to a time before the Ministry, before the Statute of Secrecy, and before the boy who lived. We are going back to the very beginning, where 4 friends decided that magic needed a home, and in doing so, they created a legacy that would endure through fire, war, and the passing of ages. This is the complete, uninterrupted history of the world of magic. In the misty wilds of 10th century Britain, between 990 and 1000 AD, 4 towering figures emerged from the shadows of persecution to forge a sanctuary that would echo through eternity. Wizards and witches, hunted by fearful muggles who burned them at the stake and drowned them in rivers, yearned for a hidden refuge where their children could learn magic without dread. Godric Gryffindor, a bold warrior hailing from the rugged moors of southwest England, had spent his youth dueling dark creatures and rallying the brave against tyranny. His heart burned with the fire of courage, believing true witches and wizards must stand tall, sword in hand, ready to defend the weak. Helga Hufflepuff, born in the lush valleys of Wales, embodied unwavering loyalty and tireless labour. She brewed potions that healed the sick in hidden hamlets, her kitchens always warm with the scent of fresh-baked bread infused with strengthening charms. Helga saw magic not as a privilege for the elite, but a gift for all who worked diligently, welcoming the overlooked and the steadfast into her fold with open arms. From the craggy highlands of Scotland came Rowena Ravenclaw, her sharp mind a labyrinth of ancient runes and celestial maps. She wandered mist-shrouded towers at dawn, charting stars that whispered secrets of forgotten spells, her wit as piercing as the wind over lochs. Rowena dreamed of a place where intellect reigned, nurturing the clever and the curious to unlock the universe's deepest mysteries, and slithering from the fens of medieval England rose Salazar Slytherin, a cunning survivor whose lineage traced back through pure blood veins for centuries. In the swampy marshes, where serpents coiled and shadows hid vaults of forbidden knowledge, he mastered potions that bent wills and spells that commanded obedience. Salazar prized ambition above all, envisioning a school that favoured those of noble wizarding stock, untainted by muggle blood. United by a shared peril, these 4 visionaries sought a secluded glen in the Scottish Highlands, ringed by jagged peaks and enchanted mists that repelled intruders. There, atop a cliff, where a vast lake lapped at sheer drops, they raised Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, a colossal castle of turrets, piercing storm clouds, halls alive with flickering torchlight and whispers of ghosts yet to come. Its walls, woven with spells of concealment and protection, would train generations in charms, transfiguration, and defense, shielding young magic from a world that branded it evil. Classrooms hummed with the crackle of wand sparks, greenhouses bloomed with venomous tentacula under watchful eyes, and the great hall's enchanted ceiling mirrored the roiling skies above, a testament to their dream of unity in diversity. Yet how to divide the students among their ideals without strife? Rowena, ever the innovator, offered her favourite battered old hat, a wide-brimmed relic stained by years of scholarly toil, and imbued with her own cleverness. In a candlelit chamber, deep within the unfinished castle, the 4 gathered around a cauldron, bubbling with veritaserum-laced essence and phoenix tears. Godric poured in the essence of daring, his voice booming incantations that evoked the clash of steel and the roar of dragons. Helga added threads of patience and fairness, her murmurs soft as hearth embers, ensuring the hat would value those who toiled without complaint. Rowena wove riddles of wisdom and creativity, her chants sharp as raven calls piercing the night. Salazar infused it with guile and resourcefulness, his sibilant spells coiling like adders, drawn from his pure blood heritage. Together, their magics fused into the Sorting Hat, a sentient artifact alive with their clashing philosophies. Bravery for Gryffindor, loyalty for Hufflepuff, intelligence for Ravenclaw, ambition for Slytherin. placed atop each new student's head on arrival, it delved into minds like roots through soil, singing cryptic verses in a gravelly baritone that rattled goblets in the Great Hall. No blade could sort so true, preserving the founders' distinct ideologies long after their bones turned to dust, ensuring every house burned with its unique flame amid the castle's eternal stone. Godric, ever the chivalrous leader, sought a symbol of his house's valour amid these foundations. He journeyed to the goblin forges deep in the Gringotts vaults as shadowy kin, commissioning Ragnuk I, a master smith whose hammers sang with otherworldly fire, to craft a blade unlike any other. Forged from goblin silver, that rare, indestructible alloy gleaming like moonlight on water, the sword bore rubies the size of dragon eyes, enchanted to pulse with Gryffindor's own fierce magic. Unlike wizard-forged steel that dulled and rusted, goblin silver repelled tarnish and absorbed only what strengthened it. Potions, poisons, a basilisk venom, emerging purer, keener, ready to strike true. This sword, hilt wrapped in scales from a sea serpent and etched with runes of heroism, vanished into Gryffindor's scabbard, only to materialize in the hands of the truly worthy. A Gryffindor, at heart facing dire peril. Legends swirled of its first gleam in the castle's half-built armoury, where Godric tested it against a conjured troll, the blade slicing clean through enchanted hide with a hum that shook the rafters. It became more than weapon, a beacon calling the courageous from dormitories lined with crimson hangings, its edge whispering promises of glory to those who dared. As Hogwarts towers rose against Highland gales, drawing fledgling witches and wizards from across Europe, the Founders' harmony began to fray at the seams. Slytherin's whispers of blood purity echoed louder in serpentine dungeons, sowing seeds of division that would erupt into betrayal. What schism rent the four apart, forcing one to flee and leave a chamber of secrets behind? That's the heart of Chapter 2, the Slytherin Schism. Stick around after this drifts you off, because the castle's darkest foundations are just beginning to crack open. As the enchanted sorting hat took on the voices of all four founders, faithfully dividing young witches and wizards by their deepest traits: bravery for Gryffindor, loyalty for Hufflepuff, wit for Ravenclaw, and cunning ambition for Slytherin. Tensions that had simmered beneath their grand alliance began to boil over. Salazar Slytherin, the most enigmatic of the quartet, held a vision rooted in ancient wizarding lineages. He believed magic was a sacred inheritance, passed down through pure-blood families who had honed it for generations. To him, admitting Muggle-born students, those whose parents lacked a drop of wizarding blood, diluted that purity, inviting chaos into their sanctuary. Gryffindor championed these newcomers, seeing their raw potential as proof that magic chose the worthy, regardless of birth. Hufflepuff welcomed all with open arms, valuing hard work over pedigree, while Ravenclaw sought intelligence wherever it bloomed, unconcerned by blood status. What started as heated debates in the castle's shadowed Great Hall escalated into outright fracture. Slytherin argued that Muggle-borns carried hidden loyalties to their non-magical kin, a risk in an era when Muggles burned witches at the stake and hunted them through fog-shrouded villages. He pointed to betrayals whispered in old grimoires, tales of Muggle-born witches revealing secrets under torture, dooming entire covens. Gryffindor countered fiercely, his voice echoing off stone walls like a clash of swords, insisting that true valor lay in protecting the vulnerable, not shunning them. Hufflepuff tried to mediate with quiet pleas for unity, her earthy wisdom grounding the storm, but even she drew lines when Slytherin's rhetoric turned venomous. The ideological rift regarding Muggle-born students that fractured the original four deepened with every council they held by flickering torchlight in the castle's nascent dungeons. Slytherin proposed enchantments to test bloodlines at the gates, a magical sieve to bar the unworthy. Ravenclaw dismissed it as unscientific folly, her quill scratching furious notes on vellum. calculating the loss of brilliant minds it would cause. Gryffindor threatened to abandon the school altogether if such prejudice took root. For years they built Hogwarts side by side, towers rising like defiant spires, greenhouses blooming with exotic flora, but the air grew thick with unspoken accusations, the founders' once harmonious magic now sparking like flint on steel. In defiance, Slytherin turned his unparalleled skill in legilimency and hidden constructions to a secret project. Deep beneath the castle's foundations, where Lakewater lapped at ancient stone, he laboured alone. Using Parseltongue charms known only to his serpentine bloodline, he carved out the Chamber of Secrets, a vast labyrinthine vault lined with serpentine statues whose eyes gleamed with emerald malice. At its heart slithered a monstrous basilisk, hatched from a colossal egg he had smuggled from distant Egyptian sands, its gaze deadly enough to petrify the impure. This was no mere hideaway. It stood as a hidden legacy of blood purity, a doomsday contingency should Muggleborns ever overwhelm the school. Slytherin inscribed the walls with warnings in Serpent's tongue. Only a true heir could unleash its fury to purge the unworthy and restore Slytherin's vision. Word of the chamber leaked through castle wards, fueling the final schism. Gryffindor confronted Slytherin in the entrance hall, the sword of Gryffindor drawn and humming with enchanted rage. Accusations flew like curses, Slytherin branding his peers as fools blind to wizarding supremacy, the others decrying him as a tyrant cloaked in green and silver. Slytherin gathered his most loyal students, those who shared his fervour for blood purity, and departed Hogwarts under a moonless sky, vanishing into the fens and marshes where his descendants would later thrive. Salazar Slytherin's departure left an indelible scar on the school's social hierarchy. His house endured, a bastion of ambition and ancient pride, often viewed with suspicion by the others. Pure-blood families flocked to Slytherin, perpetuating rivalries that simmered through centuries. Gryffindors clashing with Slytherins on Quidditch pitches, Ravenclaws debating their elitism in library corners, Hufflepuffs quietly enduring the slurs. The Sorting Hat still whispered Slytherin's warnings to those it deemed fitting, a ghostly echo ensuring his ideology lingered like mist in the dungeons. Yet Hogwarts thrived, its houses a testament to the founders' fractured genius, in each vying to shape the next generation amid the castle's ever-watchful portraits. This schism set the stage for darker storms ahead, as wizardkind faced perils far beyond internal quarrels. In our next chapter, The Age of Persecution, you'll uncover how Muggle witch hunts ignited a global crisis, forcing wizards into hiding and birthing secrets that would echo through the ages. What desperate measures did they take, and who paid the ultimate price? Salazar Slytherin's vision of blood purity didn't vanish with the chamber's hidden door. It echoed the whispers already stirring in the wider world, where witches and wizards began to feel the chill of Muggle eyes turning hostile. By the 12th century, as Europe swelled with Muggle towns and villages, the magical community found itself squeezed into the margins. Medieval records, pieced together from wizarding chronicles, paint a picture of once open alliances fraying at the edges. Wizards had healed plague victims in shadowed cloaks, advised kings from afar with subtle charms, even joined crusades under veils of illusion. But prosperity bred suspicion. A farmer's bumper crop after a witch's blessing sparked envy. A healer's touch on a dying child fueled rumours of devilry. The magical folk, scattered in hidden hamlets near ancient stone circles or deep in mist-shrouded forests, numbered perhaps a few thousand across the continent, dwarfed by the exploding Muggle multitudes who tilled fields, built cathedrals, and sharpened pitchforks. Tensions simmered through the 13th and 14th centuries, flaring with every unexplained marvel. Storm clouds parting at a wizard's wand stroke, a bountiful harvest in famine years. Muggle priests decried these as pacts with darkness, their sermons echoing from wooden pulpits. Inquisitors roamed, armed with iron zeal and crude torture devices, rooting out anyone whose neighbour bore a grudge. Wizards learned to bind their tongues, to apparate at the first flicker of torchlight, yet some couldn't hide fast enough. In the shadowed alleys of York, a healer named Elfrida Clegg was dragged before a mob in 1423, her potions mistaken for poisons. Flames licked at her robes as she screamed incantations that fizzled in the damp English air, her magic no match for collective fear. The escalating tension between the magical community and the growing Muggle population reached a fever pitch by the 15th century. Witch hunts swept across Europe like a plague of their own, and from the pyres of Salem's early echoes in England to the mass trials in Germany, where hundreds burned yearly. Accusations flew like curses, a child's fever cured overnight, a cow's sudden milk flow, a rival's misfortune pinned on an unseen hex. Wizards and witches, pureblood or not, faced the same stake. Godric Gryffindor's descendants whispered of ancestors who duelled inquisitors openly, only to fall to Muggle numbers. Helga Hufflepuff's line hid in earthy burrows, brewing loyalty potions for their own survival. Even Salazar's purists, cloaked in disdain for Muggles, sought sanctuary in Slytherin's serpentine lairs. How the burning of witches and wizard hunts forced magic underground, unfolded in harrowing waves. Picture the acrid smoke of Salem in 1692, where Bridget Bishop swung from the gallows. Her final breath, a muffled Wingardium Leviosa that lifted her noose just inches before snapping tight. In France, the affair of the poisons saw genuine potion makers like Catherine Montvoisin roasted alive, their grimoires fueling bonfires that lit the night sky. Wizards responded with desperate cunning. Families erected Fidelius charms around ancestral homes, turning manors invisible to non-magical eyes. Hogwarts itself bolstered its wards, the castle's towers shimmering with protective spells as students learned Obliviate charms before basic transfiguration. Magical blood ran in rivulets down European rivers, thinning the community to whispers. Those who survived burrowed deeper, into Diagon Alley's embryonic alleys, Godric's Hollow's veiled lanes, or Hogsmeade's first thatched roofs, where butterbeer masked the scent of fear. Amid this crucible, wizards turned inward for order. Scattered covens and lone practitioners clashed over resources. Rare wand cores smuggled from goblin forges. Phoenix feathers bartered in midnight markets. Rivalries erupted. A Cornish wizard cursing a Welsh rival's broom mid-flight, sparking aerial duels over the Severn Sea. To stem the chaos, the early formation of the Wizards' Council to manage internal magical affairs took shape around the late 14th century. Convened first in a warded chamber beneath what would become the ministry's foundations, this council gathered the most respected heads of ancient families. Gryffindor heirs with their ruby-hilted swords, Ravenclaw scholars clutching star charts, Hufflepuff matriarchs bearing badger-etched cauldrons. They met under moonlight filtrates, debating edicts by wandlight. The council's first decrees were born of necessity. They standardised apparition points to avoid Muggle sightings, regulated potion exports to prevent accidental exposures, and outlawed flashy spells like the Firebolt charm after a German wizard's display incinerated a village haystack. Disputes over Muggle-born integration raged here too, Slytherin loyalists pushing for expulsion, while others argued for secrecy over purity. Council members like Alberic Grunion, innovator of the sneakoscope, enforced judgments with binding oaths that choked dissenters' throats with invisible vines. They mediated goblin tensions simmering since Ragnarok's era, quelling a 1482 uprising by promising fairer wand-forging trades. Werewolf packs, driven feral by isolation, were herded into forested sanctuaries, with their howls a grim reminder of magic's fractures. As pyres dotted the horizon into the 16th century, the council grew bolder. They dispatched memory squads, elite obliviators on swift brooms to wipe villages clean after exposures. In Scotland, a witch named Isolt's sire fled Ireland's flames, her tales seeding Ilvermorny's future across the Atlantic. The council archived horrors in leather-bound tomes, their pages smelling of ash and regret, chronicling losses like the burning of over 300 in the Würzburg trials of 1625 to 29. Hogwarts sent alumni as undercover enforcers, blending into Muggle courts with polyjuice disguises, sabotaging trials from within. Yet cracks showed a councillor betrayed for gold, leading to the execution of 12 wizards in Bohemia. Through the 17th century, the strain mounted, Muggle science dawned, Galileo's telescopes piercing night skies where dragons once wheeled unseen, forcing wizards to cloak celestial phenomena. The council ballooned to 50 members, convening in rotating strongholds from the Lake District's depths to Welsh mountain caves. They classified early dark arts, precursors to the Unforgivable curses, banning the Cruciatus prototype used in secret vendettas. Goblin rebellions fled again in 1618, crushed only by council-negotiated treaties etched in unbreakable vows. Werewolves petitioned for moonstone subsidies, their envoys shambling into candlelit halls reeking of wolfsbane. By the late 1600s, the wizarding world teetered. Villages like Ottery St. Catchpole became fortresses of illusion, in their Muggle neighbours oblivious to the Thestrals grazing misty fields. The council, now a shadow government, whispered of a final veil. Persecution had forged them in fire, but survival demanded more than hiding. It called for a grand decree. That decree crystallised in the smoke of the last great hunts, leading straight into Chapter 4, the Great Secrecy Act. What desperate pact would seal magic away forever, and at what cost to the world left behind? As the flames of witch hunts raged across Europe and beyond, claiming countless lives in the name of fear and ignorance, the wizarding world reached its breaking point. Muggle populations swelled, their suspicions hardened into organised terror, and isolated incidents of magic could no longer be shrugged off as mere superstition. Wizards whispered in shadowed taverns and fog-shrouded forests, realising that survival demanded unity on a scale never before seen. In 1692, delegates from wizarding communities across the globe convened in utmost secrecy, their gatherings warded by the most powerful concealment charms. From the mist-veiled highlands of Scotland to the sun-baked dunes of the Arabian deserts, from the ancient stone circles of Africa to the remote islands of Japan, they came. These weren't mere envoys, they were survivors, their robes singed from narrow escapes, their eyes hollow with the grief of lost kin. After months of tense deliberation, they affixed their signatures to a monumental decree. The International Statute of Wizarding Secrecy. This wasn't just a British edict or a European pact. Its global implementation bound every magical society, mandating that wizards vanish from Muggle sight forevermore. No more casual displays of power in village squares. No more healing the sick with a flick of the wand in plain view. No more broomsticks streaking across harvest moons. The wizarding world would retreat entirely, living parallel but invisible, enforced by mutual oaths and the threat of collective retribution against any who broke the veil. Picture the chaos that ensued in those first years. The logistical nightmare of erasing magical traces from the Muggle world unfolded like a spell gone catastrophically awry. Obliviators, specially trained wizards skilled in memory charms, fanned out across continents, their wands humming with the weight of thousands of modifications. In bustling London markets, they'd corner eyewitnesses to a levitating cart of apples, murmuring "obliviate" under their breath, watching confusion cloud the victims' faces as fruit became ordinary mishaps. In rural French hamlets, house elves were dispatched to scrub blood from stone after duels gone public, transfiguring scorch marks into innocent thatch burns. Across the Atlantic, Native American magical tribes coordinated with European arrivals, to bury ancient totems that hummed with power, lest Muggle settlers stumble upon them. But it wasn't clean or quick. False memories had to be implanted with precision. Tales of mass hysteria, tricks of the light, or divine interventions to fill the voids. Dragons accidentally glimpsed in Scottish glens required entire teams to stage diversions, like sudden storms or wandering livestock herds. Werewolf attacks in Eastern Europe demanded cover stories of rabid wolves, with Auror's prowling moonlit woods to contain the beasts before dawn. The strain was immense. Overworked wizards collapsed from exhaustion, their magic flickering like candle flames in wind. As the sheer volume of incidents piled up, every floating candle at a Muggle wedding, every accidental apparition in a crowded street, every potion spill turning rainwater to wine, it all had to be undone. Night after relentless night, this veil of secrecy held firm in most places, but cracks appeared where complacency bred disaster. Take the tragic case of Dorcas Twelvetrees in colonial America, a witch whose ill-fated romance nearly shattered the Statute on a new continent. Dorcas, a young witch from a respectable family, fell deeply for Bartholomew Barebone, a handsome but fanatical Muggle preacher, oblivious to her true nature. At first, enchanted by his fervour, she let slip fragments of her world, tales of hidden schools, whispers of powerful assemblies. Barebone, sensing something unearthly, pried deeper, and Dorcas, blinded by love, revealed maps and secrets, including the concealed location of Ilvermorny, the grand North American school of witchcraft rising amid the Massachusetts wilderness. Ilvermorny, with its towering turrets mimicking the rugged peaks around it, was meant to be a beacon for young witches and wizards fleeing persecution, its halls echoing with the chants of sorting ceremonies akin to Hogwarts. Barebone, inflamed with righteous zeal, rallied Muggle authorities, publishing screeds that exposed not just the school but suspected sites of the Magical Congress of the United States of America, or MAC-USA. Panic rippled through the American wizarding community. Aurors scrambled to relocate entire families, obliviating hundreds in a frenzy. Dorcas herself vanished into obscurity, her name a cautionary whisper, while Barebone's pamphlets fueled a fresh wave of hunts. MAC-USA, still in its infancy, barely contained the breach, executing Barebone quietly and weaving elaborate memory webs over Salem's shadowed corners. Yet the incident scarred deeply, proving that even one careless heart could unravel the fragile global pact. These breaches highlighted the Statute's fragility, demanding not just vigilance but structure, ways to coordinate the endless cleanup, to punish transgressors, to safeguard the hidden realms. Wizards yearned for centralized authority to turn chaos into order, to transform ad hoc councils into something enduring. What emerged from this crucible would birth the very backbone of wizarding governance, a ministry to enforce the secrecy that kept them alive. But how did those secretive delegates evolve into a sprawling bureaucracy, complete with ministers, departments and ironclad laws? Stick around for Chapter 5, Birth of the Ministry, where we uncover the power struggles and pivotal figures that built an empire in the shadows. With the International Statute of Wizarding Secrecy firmly in place since 1692, erasing traces of magic from the Muggle world became not just a one-time scramble, but an endless vigil. Wizards across Britain whispered in shadowed taverns and fog-shrouded manors about the cracks already forming. Accidental displays of magic in remote villages, house elves glimpsed by farmers at dusk, broomsticks left too long in open barns. The Wizards' Council, that loose gathering of influential witches and wizards who had rallied to enforce the statute, met in rotating secrecy. From the leaky cellars of old London, inns to enchanted clearings in the New Forest, their decisions, scratched on charmed parchment, that self-destructed after reading, lacked the teeth to bind a fractious magical populace growing by the year. You can almost hear the murmurs in those candle-lit chambers, the air thick with pipe smoke and the faint ozone tang of apparition. Debates raged over how to police the borders between worlds, Should they expand the use of confundus charms on entire towns? Deploy house elves as invisible sentinels? The council's authority stemmed from respect, not law. A pure-blood patriarch from Wiltshire could ignore a decree from a half-blood elder from the Highlands with little recourse. Breaches piled up. A wizard in Cornwall transfiguring livestock for sport, drawing inquisitive muggle constables. A witch in York whose patronus lit the night sky during a lover's quarrel. Punishments were ad hoc, banishments to remote isles. Wands snapped in public squares, but enforcement faltered as the wizarding population swelled. Hidden families begetting more hidden families. By the early 18th century, the strain showed. Muggle witch hunts had waned under the Statute's veil, but internal threats brewed. Dark wizards experimenting with forbidden spells in underground covens. Goblin agitators testing secrecy with brazen thefts from Gringotts precursors. The council elders knew they needed permanence, a structure etched magan bureaucracy, not fleeting consensus. In 1707, amid the clatter of horse-drawn carriages on Muggle streets above, the Wizards' Council dissolved into something bolder. The British Ministry of Magic. No grand ceremony marked the birth, just a unanimous vote in a warded assembly hall off the Strand, where quills scratched out the first charter under flickering Lumos orbs. This new entity would burrow underground, its entrance disguised as a crumbling phone booth, decades later. But in those founding days, it hid in nondescript Muggle buildings, accessible only by flue or portkey. At the helm stood Ulick Gamp, a stern wizard from the West Country, with a reputation for unflinching justice. Elected as the first Minister for Magic, Gamp served from 1707 to 1718, his term a forge for the ministry's iron spine. Tall and hawk-faced, with a wand carved from yew that hummed with quiet menace, he envisioned not just secrecy, but order. Gamp's ministry took root in Whitehall's underbelly. Chambers expanded by extension charms, the house-growing staffs of owls, scribes and junior enforcers. He prioritised the chaos of enforcement, drawing from the council's failures to craft departments that could act swiftly. Under his watchful eye, the Department of Magical Law Enforcement emerged as the ministry's beating heart, its corridors echoing with the bootsteps of the newly formalised Auror Office. Picture those early Aurors, handpicked from battle-hardened duelists and statute enforcers, training in warded fields near Dartmoor. They learned to counter dark hexes, track fugitives through Fidelius enchanted hideouts, and administer memory charms with surgical precision. The department sprawled across levels, housing the Wizengamot's ancient courtrooms where trials unfolded under truth potions and pensive replays. The improper use of magic office tallying underage spells, and the being division wrangling unruly creatures that threatened exposure. Gamp's memos, distributed via ministry owls that perched on every desk, decreed zero tolerance. Any breach of secrecy meant swift Auror raids, wands confiscated, perpetrators shipped to holding cells in the department's bowels. His terms solidified the ministry as Britain's nerve centre, coordinating with international counterparts via the International Confederation of Wizards, ensuring the Statute's web held firm. Yet darkness festered even in this structured dawn. Whispers spread of curses born in medieval grimoires, spells that twisted flesh and shattered minds, wielded by those who chafed at secrecy's chains. Wizard disillusioned with hiding turned to forbidden arts, forming cabals in the Scottish moors, where imperious commands bent wills like reeds in wind. Reports flooded Gamp's desk. Auror teams stumbling on torture sessions fueled by Cruciatus agony, bodies crumpled from Avada Kedavra's green flash. To stem this tide, in 1717, the ministry under Gamp's enduring influence classified 3 curses as unforgivable, their use punishable by lifetime imprisonment or worse. The Imperious Curse, that silken thread puppeteering victims into puppets. The Cruciatus Curse, wringing screams from souls until mercy begged for death. And the Avada Kedavra, the Killing Curse, unstoppable save by sacrificial love or ancient wards. These were no mere spells. but abominations etched into law with blood-red ink on the ministry's statutes. The classification aimed to deter the dark arts at their root, branding wielders as pariahs unfit for wizarding society. Public edicts, fire called into every flow hearth, warned of the curse's permanence. No counter-curse healed their scars, no antidote revived their dead. Aurors received specialized training, their spells honed to disarm before invocation, while the Wizengamot's high seats echoed with first trials under the new code. Gamp's vision bore fruit. Dark coven scattered, secrecy held firmer, but the question lingered. What to do with those monsters who defied even Unforgivables? As the ministry's laws hardened, one shadowy need eclipsed all others. A prison to contain the irredeemable, far from prying eyes and vengeful spells. In Chapter 6, The Fortress of Despair, you'll step into the icy origins of Azkaban, where despair itself became the ultimate warden. As the Department of Magical Law Enforcement found its footing under Ulick Gamp and his early successors, the wizarding world grappled with a pressing void. Where to contain those who wielded magic against their own kind? Criminals roamed too freely, spells of malice lingering in the shadows of newly secretive society. It was in this fragile order, between 1718 and 1726, that the ministry turned its gaze to a forsaken speck in the North Sea, a place already steeped in whispers of horror. Azkaban had slumbered there for centuries, not as some gleaming fortress of justice, but as the grim sanctuary of a Christis, a sorcerer whose name evoked shudders even among the darkest wizards. In the 15th century, Christis claimed the barren island, drawn by its isolation amid relentless gales and crashing waves that battered the rocky shores like the fury of forgotten gods. He delved deep into forbidden arts, torturing Muggle sailors who washed ashore and any wizard foolish enough to seek his twisted counsel. His lair rose from the mist-shrouded cliffs, walls of jagged stone infused with enchantments that twisted the mind, corridors echoing with the screams of the damned, and cells where light itself seemed to wither. Christis vanished mysteriously, his body never found, leaving behind a structure that repelled all who approached, save for the ministry's desperate surveyors. By the early 18th century, as wizarding crimes surged with the pressures of secrecy, Damocles Rowell, Minister for Magic during that turbulent stretch, saw potential in this haunted relic. Rowell, a stern figure with a reputation for unyielding pragmatism, argued that no ordinary dungeon could hold the most dangerous offenders. Wizards had broken out of ministry holding cells using simple Alohomora charms or polyjuice deceptions. They apparated through wards, vanished into thin air. Azkaban's natural defences, the howling winds that disrupted apparition, the churning seas that swallowed broomsticks, offered isolation unmatched. Rowell ordered its expansion, towering battlements reinforced with anti-apparition jinxes, underwater chains forged from merfolk alloy to bind the desperate, and self-repairing gates that sealed with a groan like the Earth's own lament. But Rowell's masterstroke, and the spark of endless controversy, came with his pact involving the Dementors. These spectral horrors, cloaked in tattered rags that fluttered like decayed flesh, had long haunted the fringes of the wizarding world, feeding on human despair in forgotten battlefields and plague-ridden villages. Rowell, facing budget strains and guard shortages after a string of daring escapes, proposed the unthinkable: invite the Dementors to serve as eternal wardens. In exchange for prey, they would patrol the battlements, their presence alone sapping the will of any inmate to resist. Critics howled in the Wizengamot halls. How could the ministry ally with creatures that embodied soulless torment? Petitions flooded Rowell's desk, warning of corruption, of Dementors turning on guards or infiltrating dreams beyond the walls. Yet Rowell pressed on, sealing the deal in 1724 amid protests that echoed through Diagon Alley's cobblestones. The Dementors glided into Azkaban like fog rolling off the sea, their rattling breaths chilling the air to a bone-deep freeze. Inmates felt it instantly, the slow drain of joy, memories paling to grey ash laughter reduced to hollow echoes. A wizard condemned for dark curses might relive his worst cruelties endlessly, hope crumbling under the weight of endless night. Escapes plummeted. No one could summon the patronus charm amid such gloom. But at what cost? The fortress became a symbol, not of retribution, but of oblivion, its very name a curse whispered in taverns. This psychological shadow stretched far beyond the island's crags, seeping into the wizarding soul. Families of the convicted lived in quiet dread, knowing a stint in Azkaban could return a shell of a person. Eyes vacant, spirit irretrievably fractured. The Daily Prophet ran exposés on Azkaban syndrome, where even the innocent feared the mere accusation. Justice twisted into a spectre more terrifying than the crime. Ministers after royal-faced reckonings. Was punishment meant to reform, or merely to break? Public trust in the ministry frayed, as tales spread of wrongful imprisonments. Dementors feasting on the guiltless. Wizards began to question the system's heart. Had the pursuit of security birthed the monster that devoured the very ideals it protected? Debates raged in the leaky cauldron, where tankards paused mid-sip as survivors recounted the endless cold. The way happiness felt like a distant dream stolen by gliding shadows. Even auras, hardened by pursuits through cursed forests and shadowed alleys, spoke in hushed tones of the toll. One veteran, interviewed decades later, described the boat ride to the island. The sky darkening unnaturally, waves slapping like accusations, and then the first kiss of Dementor chill, forcing buried fears to surface. Society internalized it all, a prison so abhorrent that crime's deterrence lay not in laws, but in primal terror. Blood purity advocates praised it as a purge for the unworthy. Muggle-born reformers decried it as barbarism, rivaling Muggle witch hunts. Azkaban reshaped justice into something visceral, a reminder that in hiding from the world, wizards had forged their own abyss. Yet amid this fortress of despair, unrest simmered elsewhere, far from the North Sea's grip. Grumblings from deep vaults and goblin forges that would soon erupt into full rebellion. We'll uncover those explosive clashes in Chapter 7. The Goblin Rebellions. As the chilling fog of Azkaban settled over the North Sea, under Damocles' Roll's watchful eye, with Dementors gliding through its cells like living shadows, the young Ministry of Magic faced a far more volatile storm, brewing far closer to home. Deep beneath the streets of London, in vaults carved from unyielding rock, goblins sharpened their grievances into blades that no spell could dull. These weren't the goblins of fairy tales, skulking in woods with mischievous grins. No, the goblins of the wizarding world were master artisans, their forges alive, with the roar of enchanted flames and the clang of hammers shaping silver purer than moonlight. From the 10th century onward, when Ragnarok I forged the sword of Gryffindor, its blade gleaming with rubies that whispered of goblin pride. They crafted wonders that wizards coveted, yet envy festered into enmity, igniting the centuries-long conflict between wizards and goblins over wand rights and silver. Picture the goblin workshops in the shadowed alleys of Diagon Alley, where apprentices with keen eyes and collused hands twisted wand cores of dragon heartstring and phoenix feather into wands of unparalleled power. Wizards flocked there, galleons in hand, demanding these instruments of magic. But once purchased, the wands stayed with their human owners, passed down generations, never returned. Goblins seethed. This was their workmanship, their essence embedded in every swirl of wood and gleam of core. Why should wizards hoard what goblins could not wield? Laws forbade goblins from carrying wands, branding them as non-magical beings unfit for such tools. Even as they birthed the very magic that fueled wizardkind, silver fueled the fire just as fiercely. Goblins revered it not for its shine, but for its conductivity to spells, forging helms, armor, and heirlooms that hummed with latent power. Wizards melted them down or claimed them outright, sparking raids and reprisals. By the 17th century, as the international Statute of Secrecy cloaked wizards from muggles, goblins watched their rights erode further. Gringotts Bank, founded in 1474 by goblin engineers who tunneled deeper than dragons dared, became both sanctuary and battleground. A fortress of gold where goblins guarded wizard wealth, yet chafed under ministry oversight. Tensions simmered through the early 18th century, boiling over in 1747 during the most infamous uprisings. Hordes of goblins, armed with swords that bit through shielding charms and arrows tipped with silver that pierced protective spells, surged from Gringotts' depths. They overran ministry outposts, their war cries echoing like grinding stone, demanding wand equality and the return of their crafted treasures. Wizards, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Enter ministers Albus Boot and Basil Flack, whose tenures from 1747 to 1752 turned potential negotiation into catastrophe. Boot, a dapper pure-blood more at home in ministry banquets than battlefields, dismissed the rebels as overheated smiths and dispatched ill-trained aurors armed with outdated tactics. His forces relied on brute force stunning spells, which goblins dodged with acrobatic grace honed in underground arenas. Boot's arrogance peaked when he banned goblin silver imports, igniting sabotage in wizard forges across Britain, one splintering mid-duel, cauldrons cracking under potion heat. Flack fared no better, inheriting a fractured front, a former Department of Magical Accidents head. He favoured espionage over engagement, planting confundus charms in goblin councils that sowed chaos but no surrender. His secret decree to flood rebel tunnels with Peruvian viper-tooth fire only rallied more goblins, who countered with anti-fire charms passed down from Ragnarok's era. Casualties mounted. Wizard families lost heirlooms in retaliatory thefts. Goblin clans saw their finest blades shattered by goblin-made relatio curses turned against them. Flack's mismanagement peaked at the Battle of Chipping Clodbury, where a poorly coordinated flu network ambush left 300 aurors stranded in goblin-infested caves, their screams silenced by silver nets that drained wands of magic. The uprisings dragged on 5 bloody years, ending not in victory but exhaustion. Goblins retreated to Gringotts, their demands unmet, but the scars reshaped the wizarding world. Wizards, humbled by their near loss of the magical economy, granted goblins monopoly over banking. Gringotts evolved into an impregnable citadel, its vaults secured by goblin curses that laughed at apparition and dragon breath alike. No longer mere depositories, these halls became the pulsing heart of wizard finance. Galleons minted under goblin eyes, international trade funneled through their ledgers. The wars forged a tense symbiosis. Wizards needed goblin security for their gold. Goblins wielded economic leverage as their unspoken wand. This fragile peace echoed in every clink of coin at Gringotts counters, a reminder that wizard prosperity rested on goblin forges. Yet beneath the polished counters, old grudges smouldered, waiting for the next spark. As we leave the echoes of clashing steel behind, you'll want to stay tuned for Chapter 8, the Triwizard Tradition, where ancient rivalries between schools ignite in a tournament of peril and glory that nearly tore the wizarding world apart once more. As the goblin rebellions of the 1740s finally sputtered out under the inept hands of Ministers Boot and Flack, wizards turned their eyes away from those bitter underground skirmishes toward a grander stage of rivalry, one that had been igniting passions across Europe for centuries already. Picture the crisp autumn air of medieval Scotland, thick with the scent of pine and wood smoke, as envoys from distant academies arrived at Hogwarts' towering gates. It was in the late 13th century that this legendary gathering first took shape. A bold alliance born from the need to test the limits of young magic against the finest minds Europe could offer. Hogwarts, that ancient bastion founded 4 centuries earlier by Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw and Slytherin, stood as the heart of British wizardry, but its headmasters knew isolation bred stagnation. Across the channel shimmered Borgsbaten's Academy of Magic, nestled in the elegant spires of the French Pyrenees, where students glided through halls of marble and crystal, masters of fine charms and Vila-inspired allure. Farther north, in the rugged wilds of the far north, loomed Durmstrang Institute, a fortress of dark stone shrouded in perpetual mist, renowned for its unyielding dueling traditions and tolerance, some whispered embrace of the darker arts. These three schools, each a beacon in their realm, forged the Triwizard Tournament as a pact of prestige, selecting one champion apiece to compete in feats that would humble even seasoned Aurors. The first tournament unfolded under a sky bruised with storm clouds, champions barely out of their teens, stepping into an arena carved from the forbidden forest's edge. Tasks were devised by elder wizards, drawing from ancient grimoires, summoning spectral guardians from the ether, navigating labyrinths alive with enchanted traps, plunging into black locks teeming with Grindelows and worse. Crowds from Hogsmeade to the salons of Paris gathered, flags of scarlet and blue snapping in the wind as spells cracked like thunder. A Bowsbaton's champion once transfigured a Hungarian horntail into a flock of harmless butterflies, only for the illusion to shatter and claim 2 spectators in the backlash. Victories brought glory, the winning school's crest etched into a massive golden Triwizard Cup, paraded through Diagon Alley amid feasts of phoenix-roasted meats and elf-made wines. Yet beneath the cheers pulsed a deeper current, one of cultural exchange that reshaped European magical education itself. Hogwarts pupils traded tales of the Sorting Hat's whims with Bowsbaton's girls who demonstrated wandless levitation drawn from southern grimoires, their gestures fluid as river water. Durmstrang boys, broad-shouldered and scarred from rune-carved trials, sparred with Gryffindors in the Great Hall, sharing secrets of storm-summoning hexes that bent lightning to a wizard's will. Rivalries flared like dragonfire, taunts across dormitory tables about whose potions brewed stronger amortentia, whose brooms outflew the rest. But so did alliances. Friendships bloomed in shadowed alcoves. Forbidden romances whispered under disillusionment charms, carrying spells and philosophies back to their homelands. Slytherin heirs learned the elegance of French wandwork. Ravenclaws puzzled over Durmstrang's alchemical enigmas, forging a tapestry of magic richer than any single school could weave alone. These exchanges echoed through generations, with headmasters hosting pre-tournament galas, where polyjuice pranks tested loyalties and international Quidditch matches served as warm-ups. A Durmstrang champion's victory in 1492. The year Columbus sailed under Muggle sails, inspired Hogwarts to adopt stricter apparition training, fearing their rivals' teleportation prowess. Rivalry sharpened skills. Bowsbaton's emphasis on beauty and magic humbled brash wizards into subtler spells, while Durmstrang's raw power pushed others toward defensive mastery. Europe's young witches and wizards emerged not just stronger, but woven into a shared legacy, their accents mingling in the Ministry's own halls decades later. But glory came at a savage cost. The high mortality rate turned what began a celebration into a grim lottery of fate. Early tournaments saw champions perish weakly, drowned in merfolk lairs, incinerated by poorly contained dragons, bred by acromantulas loosed from the castle dungeons. One infamous 1433 event claimed 4 lives when a maze task unleashed a rogue sphinx whose riddles masked killing curses. Spectators weren't spared, collapsing stands under cheering spells, poisoned chalices swapped in jest. By the 1600s, records in the Department of Mysteries tallied over 100 dead, wizards and witches alike, their names etched in a somber monument at Hogwarts Lake Shore. Parents protested in the Wizengamot. Aurors decried the recklessness, and international accords strained under grief. Suspension came not with a bang, but a weary decree from the Wizarding councils around 1792, coinciding with revolutionary fervour in France. Bowsbatons withdrew first, their delegates citing unconscionable barbarity, followed by Durmstrang's stoic nod and Hogwarts' reluctant bow to safety. The Triwizard Cup was sealed in a vault, its gleam dulled by dust, as schools retreated into national silos. Whispers persisted of underground revivals, shadowy duels in neutral territories, but the official flame flickered out, leaving only legends and a cautionary tale of ambition's edge. Even in dormancy, the tournament spirit lingered, a reminder that magic thrives on challenge, yet courts peril. What shadows might it have cast across wider oceans where other schools brewed their own fierce traditions? That takes us straight into Chapter 9, Global Magic. Beyond Britain, where we'll uncover wandless wonders and hidden academies that make Europe's rivalries look like mere parlour games, while the Triwizard Tournament's dangers eventually forced its suspension after centuries of deadly rivalries between Hogwarts, Hogsbatons and Durmstrang. Those European powerhouses represented only a fraction of the wizarding world's vast tapestry. Magic had long pulsed across every continent, shaped by ancient traditions that predated even Hogwarts itself, hidden from Muggle eyes under the international Statute of Secrecy, yet thriving in secrecy's shadow. That Statute of 1692, enforced globally by the International Confederation of Wizards, didn't impose a uniform veil everywhere. Cultures wove it into their own fabrics of governance, adapting it to landscapes and histories as diverse as the spells they cast. In parts of Asia, secretive councils embedded in imperial courts whispered enforcement through ancestral shrines, where shamans bound Muggle memories with incense rituals rather than brute obliviate charms. South American wizarding enclaves, deep in rainforests guarded by curse-laden vines, relied on tribal assemblies that interpreted secrecy as harmony with nature, using illusionary mist to cloak entire villages while trading potions with indigenous healers under the guise of folklore. Even in the frozen expanses of Russia, governance flowed through nomadic elder circles, who etched secrecy oaths into birch bark talismans, passed down like heirlooms to ensure no peasant hunter stumbled upon a levitating sleigh. Nowhere did this cultural alchemy shine brighter than in Africa, where the grandest school of them all, Uagadou, perched high in the mountains of the moon, its sun-baked spires catching the dawn like molten gold. Founded over 1,000 years ago, long before Europe's founders dreamed of castles, Uagadou stood as the largest wizarding academy on Earth, drawing students from every corner of the continent through dream messengers, ethereal birds of starlight that visited sleeping children, whispering invitations in tongues of prophecy. Here, wands were curiosities, relics of foreign wizards. True power flowed from bare hands, shaped by precise gestures that danced like flames in the savannah wind. Picture apprentices under vast acacia canopies, palms slicing the air to summon tempests or coax herbs from parched soil, their fingers weaving threads of raw magic invisible to the untrained eye. Astronomy wasn't mere study but communion. Students attuned to celestial pulses, divining messages from comets' tails or the moon's shadowed craters, guidance that steered entire lineages. Alchemy bubbled in cavernous labs, transmuting desert sands into elixirs of vitality. But it was self-transfiguration that set Uagadou apart, a mastery so profound it blurred the line between human and beast. Young witches and wizards learned to shift their very forms at will, sprouting feathers for flight across endless dunes or scales to dive into crocodile-haunted rivers, all without a murmur of incantation. This wasn't the rigid animagus transformations of Britain, bound by registration and months of meditation. At Uagadou, it was instinct, honed through rituals where elders guided novices into hyena packs under starlit skies, teaching them to run on all fours, to scent the wind as predator or prey. Failures weren't punished but revisited in dreams, until the body yielded like clay to the soul's command. Graduates emerged not just powerful, but fluid, their magic an extension of breath and bone, a living defiance of any tool's limits. Across the Pacific, another hidden gem gleamed. Mahutakoro, nestled on the volcanic isle of Minami Iwo-jima, far from prying ships in Japan's Sea of Japan, veiled by perpetual typhoon wards that twisted compasses and fogged radars, its pagoda towers rose from mist-shrouded cliffs, where cherry blossoms bloomed eternally under warming charms. Students, clad in robes that shifted from pristine white to shimmering gold with academic prowess, trained in disciplines blending Eastern precision with raw elemental force, fire spells drawn from dragon heartstring cores, illusion veils mimicking samurai ghosts to patrol the shores. Secrecy here meant invisibility in plain sight. The school's governors, descendants of ancient Onmyoji, integrated statute laws into tea ceremonies, where sips of truth serum disguised as matcha bound Muggle fishermen to silence, preserving the island as a floating fortress of knowledge. Further north, in the Siberian wilderness, Koldov Storets carved its stronghold into the Ural Mountains' icy heart, a palace of frost-rimed turrets that blended into glacial crevasses, accessible only by broomstick flights through blizzards conjured as eternal sentinels. Russian wizards, hardy as the bears they tamed, interpreted the statute through a lens of stoic endurance. Local governance via the supreme mugwump assemblies, where fur-clad elders decreed memory wipes via vodka-laced amortentia, turning tales of flying reindeer into peasant superstitions. Quidditch here was brutal poetry, players hurtling crystal orbs on uprooted trees instead of brooms, crashing through snowdrifts in games that tested survival as much as skill. The school's hidden location ensured no Cirrus patrol or Soviet surveyor ever mapped its glow, a beacon for Slavic witches and wizards, mastering wandwork in sub-zero forges, tempering spells with the bite of permafrost. These distant bastions, from Africa's gesture-born wonders to Asia's storm-cloaked sanctuaries, formed a constellation of magic, each enforcing the statute not as chains but as custom, their students occasionally crossing paths in Confederation summits, trading secrets amid the scent of spiced teas and thawing ices. Yet as the 19th century waned, whispers of unrest stirred from Europe, where a silver-tongued visionary plotted to shatter the secrecy that bound them all. Drift deeper now, as we turn to Chapter 10, The Rise of Gellert Grindelwald, where one man's quest for Muggle subjugation ignites a global inferno you won't want to wake from, while schools like Guagadu thrived on wandless grace, and Mahutakoro concealed its spires amid volcanic mists. Durmstrang Institute carved its legacy in the frozen shadows of the northern mountains, a place where the air bit like a curse, and the curriculum leaned heavily into the unforgivable edges of magic. It was here, in the late 1800s, that a young wizard named Gellert Grindelwald first twisted the school's rigid traditions into something far more dangerous. Born into an old wizarding family around 1882 or 1883, Grindelwald arrived at Durmstrang already brimming with a restless brilliance, his silver blonde hair and piercing eyes, marking him as both charismatic and untamable. Durmstrang prided itself on producing warriors, not scholars, lessons in dueling that echoed through stone halls slick with perpetual frost, potions brewed from rare Nordic beasts, and a tolerance for the dark arts that no other school dared approach. Grindelwald excelled, but he didn't stop at mastery. He pushed boundaries, experimenting with spells that danced too close to the prohibited, forcing classmates into brutal duels that left scars deeper than flesh. Whispers spread of him, raising spectral flames in the dead of night, bending minds with experimental charms, even coaxing shadows into forms that mimicked Inferi. The headmaster, a stern figure named Igor Karkaroff's predecessor, tolerated much, but when Grindelwald's antics endangered lives, rumours swirled of a classmate nearly killed in a forbidden blood ritual. The breaking point came. Around 1899, at just 17, Grindelwald was expelled. Cast out into the Muggle world with his wand still humming in his pocket, his mind alight with resentment and unquenched ambition. Exile didn't dim his fire, it forged it. Holed up in a dusty Nurmengard bookshop, run by his great-aunt, Grindelwald devoured ancient tomes, his obsession crystallizing around a single myth that would redefine terror, the Deathly Hallows. From Beedle the Bard's tales, he latched onto the legend of the three unbeatable gifts: the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak, artifacts said to conquer death itself and grant dominion over all magic. no mere fairy story to him. Grindelwald saw them as real as keys to wizardkind's supremacy. He pored over faded scrolls, sketching runes that glowed faintly under his fingertips, convinced the Elder Wand, the unbeatable Thornwood relic, lay waiting for a worthy master. The Resurrection Stone promised reunion with the lost, pulling shades from the veil, while the cloak ensured invisibility in conquest. His nights blurred into days, the shop's air thick with ink and incantations, as he mapped a future where wizards no longer hid, but ruled. That summer of 1899, fate twisted sharper still. Grindelwald, restless and scheming, fled to Godric's Hollow, that ancient wizarding village in the West Country, drawn by family ties and whispers of power. There, in the humid haze of a British July, he encountered 17-year-old Albus Dumbledore, a prodigy fresh from Hogwarts, his eyes already sparkling with the genius that would one day save the world. They met by chance, perhaps over a shared book in the local library, or through Grindelwald's grey-taunt Batilda Bagshot. But the connection ignited like fiend fire. For 3 intoxicating months, they were inseparable, two brilliant minds colliding in midnight debates that shook the rafters. Dumbledore, grieving his mother's death and burdened by family cares, found in Grindelwald a mirror of his own radical thoughts. They paced cobbled streets under starlit skies, the village's thatched roofs glowing faintly with protective charms, plotting a revolution. Wizards, they argued, were superior, beings of light chained by secrecy, oppressed by muggle ignorance. Why hide when they could rule? For the greater good, they whispered, those words becoming their mantra, a phrase that chilled the soul even as it promised utopia. Grindelwald's charisma fueled Dumbledore's intellect. Together, they dreamed of toppling ministries, subjugating muggles with wand and will, seeking the Hallows to cement their reign. Parchments filled with their manifesto, outlining a new world order. Wizard parliaments in every capital, muggles bent to magical law, the deathly Hallows as symbols of divine right. It was a friendship that reshaped destinies, brief as a phoenix's cry, yet its echoes would scar generations. But cracks formed. Dumbledore's sister Ariana, fragile and magically unstable, died in a tragic clash involving the pair, and Dumbledore's brother Aberforth, details shrouded in pain and regret. Grindelwald vanished soon after, fleeing to Europe with the manifesto clutched like a holy writ. He began recruiting, his silver tongue weaving spells of persuasion across wizarding enclaves. By the 1920s, his movement swelled. Aurelius they called themselves, or later, for the greater good. Raids on Muggle strongholds lit the skies from Paris to Prague, dark mark scorching the heavens long before any snake took that place. The global wizarding war erupted, not confined to Britain but a storm sweeping continents, ministries crumbling under coordinated assaults, dragons loosed on armies, ancient curses unearthed from forgotten vaults. Grindelwald's forces claimed the Elder Wand, or so he boasted, wielding it in duels that levelled mountains, his obsession driving relentless hunts for the other Hallows. Villages burned, pure-blood families pledged allegiance, werewolves and giants swelled his ranks. The International Confederation of Wizards reeled, unable to contain the blaze. For decades he carved an empire from Nurmengard Fortress, a prison turned palace, its walls whispering prophecies of doom. Yet whispers persisted of one man who could stop him, a name spoken in hushed tones, Albus Dumbledore. That reckoning brewed for nearly 50 years, culminating in a clash that would echo through eternity. Next time in Chapter 11, 1945, The Duel of Destiny, you'll witness the legendary confrontation atop a storm-lashed peak where brother turned foe, wand met wand, and the fate of the wizarding world hung by a single shattering spell. What secrets did Grindelwald reveal in defeat, and how did it forge the greatest wizard of them all? Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious. Where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. That summer of friendship in Godric's Hollow had twisted into something unrecognizable over the decades. Gellert Grindelwald, once the brilliant boy plotting a new world order with young Albus Dumbledore, had become its ruthless architect. By the 1920s and 30s, his vision darkened into outright conquest. He swept across Europe like a shadow, rallying dark wizards, subjugating ministries from France to the Balkans, all under the banner of wizard supremacy over muggles. Ermengarde, his infamous fortress school, churned out fanatical followers, while his symbol, a deathly hallow etched with blood, struck terror into hearts from London to New York. Grindelwald's power grew unchecked, fueled by whispers of the Elder Wand, that unbeatable instrument of death he claimed to wield. Cities fell silent under his curses, Muggle leaders vanished in green flashes, the wizarding world teetered, alliances frayed, and even the International Confederation of Wizards debated surrender. Yet one name lingered in hushed defiance: Albus Dumbledore, Transfiguration Professor at Hogwarts. He had watched from afar, burdened by their shared past, reluctant to unleash the monster their youthful ideals might have birthed. But as Grindelwald's legions marched toward total domination, Dumbledore could delay no longer. The climax of the war against Grindelwald erupted in 1945, a year when the Muggle world raged with its own global firestorm. Reports trickled in of Grindelwald's forces breaching sacred veils, exposing magic to Muggle armies locked in their brutal conflict. Dumbledore, now headmaster of Hogwarts, stepped from the shadows. He rallied scattered resistance, French Aurors, Bulgarian seers, even wary American Macusa operatives, and confronted the Dark Wizard at last. Their legendary duel unfolded high in the jagged peaks of Ermengarde itself. Grindelwald's foreboding stronghold carved into the Austrian mountains, where howling winds carried the screams of the imprisoned. Picture the scene if you can, though the full fury defies words. Grindelwald, silver-haired and wild-eyed, gripped the Elder Wand, its white core humming with stolen allegiance. He unleashed torrents of dark fire, serpentine flames that devoured stone and sky alike, twisting into fiery birds that screeched toward Dumbledore. The air crackled with raw power. Snowfields boiled into steam. Avalanches thundered down slopes only to halt mid-slide, frozen by countercharms. Dumbledore, his half-moon spectacles glinting amid the chaos, wove spells of impossible grace. Water from mountain streams rose in crystalline shields, shattering into shards that pierced the flames like diamond daggers. Fiend fire clashed with Phoenix song. The Elder Wand's green death bolts met Phoenix Patronus light, exploding in cascades of ethereal sparks. Hours blurred into eternity as the two titans circled, wands blurring into streaks of light. Grindelwald's voice boomed incantations in ancient tongues, summoning spectral armies from the graves of his conquests. Ghostly warriors clawing from the earth. Dumbledore parried with transfigurations that turned stone to liquid gold, binding the phantoms in molten chains. The ground trembled. Fissures split the peak, swallowing lesser wizards who dared watch from afar. Sweat beaded on brows, robes tore in the gale, but neither yielded. It was more than magic. It was the clash of destinies, the reckoning of a friendship forged in fire and broken by ambition. At the duel's shattering peak, Dumbledore's final spell, a masterful confluence of elder magic and unyielding will, disarmed Grindelwald. The Elder Wand flew from his grasp, spinning through the blizzard, before Dumbledore caught it. In that instant, allegiance shifted, the wand's ancient loyalty transferring irrevocably to its new conqueror. Grindelwald staggered, defeated not by brute force, but by the very power he had chased. He did not beg. Instead, a flicker of the old Gellert surfaced, a wry acknowledgement of the boy who had once dreamed beside Albus. Yet mercy had limits. Dumbledore oversaw Grindelwald's imprisonment in the deepest cell of Ermengarde, the tower prison Grindelwald had built for his enemies, its walls etched with mocking runes. Bid us grosser of all for the greater good. Word of the victory rippled outward like a patronus across the globe. Ministries rejoiced. Dark alliances crumbled overnight. Grindelwald's followers scattered or surrendered, his symbol burned in public squares. This triumph cemented Albus Dumbledore as the most powerful wizard of the age, a beacon whose name alone deterred darkness. No longer just a scholar or teacher, he became the defeater of legends, wielder of the Elder Wand. Though few knew its true nature, and supreme mugwump of the International Confederation, Hogwarts thrived under his unassailable guardianship. Even Muggle-born families whispered his praises in hidden alleys. Peace settled, fragile but profound, as the wizarding world exhaled. Yet shadows lingered in the aftermath. Whispers from Grindelwald's interrogations hinted at greater threats, secrets buried in his fall. And far from those mountain heights, in the fog-shrouded streets of London, an unremarkable orphanage sheltered a child whose path would soon eclipse even this epic clash. Next time, in Chapter 12. The Orphan of Wools. Discover the boy who would make Grindelwald's reign seem a mere prelude to true terror. With Grindelwald defeated, and the Elder Wand's allegiance secured by Dumbledore in 1945, a fragile calm settled over the wizarding world, broken only by whispers of shadows yet to come. Those shadows trace back 2 decades earlier, to a bleak London orphanage on a fog-shrouded winter night, on December 31st, 1926, as fireworks cracked faintly over the Thames and Muggles toasted the new year. A boy entered the world in the dim confines of Wool's orphanage for the hopeless cases. His mother, Maruk Gaunt, a gaunt descendant of Slytherin herself, had slunk into the building hours before, her body racked by labour pains and the final throes of a love potion's cruel abandonment. Tom Riddle Sr., the handsome Muggle heir from the nearby manor, had fled when the potion wore off, leaving Maruk to die whispering her son's name. Tom Marvolo Riddle, after her father and grandfather, those bitter pure-blood fanatics rotting in squalor. The matron, Mrs. Cole, bundled the squalling infant away, noting his unnerving dark eyes that seemed to pierce right through you, even as a newborn. Life in Wools was no cradle of warmth. The orphanage squatted on a grimy street in Lambeth, its walls peeling with damp corridors, echoing with the coughs of sickly children and the sharp cracks of a ruler on knuckles. Young Tom grew tall and thin, his jet-black hair slicked back, his face pale and unnaturally handsome, but he formed no bonds. Other boys feared him instinctively. Toys would vanish from their lockers, only to reappear mangled in Tom's hands. Billy Stubbs woke one morning to find his rabbit hanged by its neck from the rafters, stiff and cold, and though no one saw Tom near it, his lips curled in that cold, knowing smile. Amy Benson and Dennis Bishop returned from a cave trip, with Tom utterly changed, hollow-eyed, stammering secrets they never shared, as if something vital had been sucked from their souls. Tom learned early that he was different, set apart by a power that hummed inside him like a serp coiled in his chest. By age 5, he realized he could make things happen just by wanting them fiercely enough. A bully who shoved him found his arm blistered raw overnight, as if scorched by invisible flame. Another boy who stole his meagre supper choked on thin air until he begged forgiveness, tears streaming. Tom felt no guilt, no flicker of remorse, only a thrilling detachment, like watching ants scurry before a boot descends. These weren't accidents. They were his will made manifest, and he hoarded the secret, testing its edges in the orphanage's shadowed corners, where gas lamps flickered like dying stars. He spoke to animals too, in a voice that slithered low and sibilant, a gift inherited from his mother's Slytherin line. At the zoo, on rare outings, he'd lean close to the glass of the reptile house, hissing words that made the boa constrictor uncoil and respond, its tongue flicking in agitation as Tom murmured promises of freedom. "Can you hear me?" he'd whisper, and the snake would rasp back, "Yes, let me out." They teased me. The other children backed away, crossing themselves, while Tom watched the handlers panic, the glass mysteriously shattering to let the creature slither free into the London streets. 11 years crept by in that stifling place, Tom's isolation deepening into something predatory. Then, one drizzly summer evening in 1938, The heavy oak door of Mrs. Cole's office creaked open to admit a tall figure in a plum-coloured velvet suit, half-moon spectacles glinting under the weak bulb. Albus Dumbledore had come, summoned by a faint magical trace that flickered like a distressed beacon from the orphanage records. Mrs. Cole, sherry-flushed and wary, recounted Tom's oddities. The dead rabbit, the terrified cave children, while the boy himself sat rigid in the corner, appraising this stranger with those fathomless eyes. Dumbledore met Tom's gaze steadily, unflinching. "I am Professor Dumbledore, from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Sorcery," he said simply, and watched the boy's wariness sharpen to hunger. Tom leaned forward, voice smooth as polished stone. "I knew I was different. I knew I was special, always," he demonstrated then, with chilling precision. Flames leaping in the grate at his command, a drawer unlocking without touch, the matron's stolen medallion materializing from thin air into Dumbledore's hand. Outside, in the orphanage garden, a trio of spiders skittered across the floor with Tom's hissed urging, clustering around Dennis Bishop's whimpering form until Dumbledore intervened with a quiet wave. But it was the snakes that sealed the encounter's unease. From his trunk, Tom unpacked a thick, twisting adder, its scales gleaming like oiled midnight. He stroked it lovingly, murmuring in Parseltongue, low, venomous syllables that made Dumbledore's eyes narrow in recognition. The serpent reared, hood flaring, as Tom confided his triumphs. The punishments he'd inflicted, the fears he'd sown, all without a shred of regret. "I can make bad things happen to people who annoy me," he admitted coolly. "I can make them hurt if I want to." Dumbledore saw it all. The raw talent twisted by neglect, the absence of empathy like a void where a soul should beat. He offered Tom's letter of acceptance, warning of the rules at Hogwarts, but the boy merely smiled, already plotting how this new world would bend to him. As Tom Marvolo Riddle stepped into the wizarding realm that fateful summer, the orphanage's chill seemed to lift from his shoulders, replaced by robes of destiny. Yet beneath that poised exterior lurked the makings of something far darker, a transformation chronicled next in the making of a monster, where a clever boy becomes the terror that haunts every wizard's nightmare. 11 years after Dumbledore's visit to that grim orphanage, on September 1st, 1938, an 11-year-old Tom Marvolo Riddle boarded the Hogwarts Express, his sharp eyes already scanning the compartments for leverage. He arrived at the castle not as a frightened first year, but as a predator in miniature, his trunk packed with pilfered treasures from wolves. Odds and ends he'd charmed or stolen to feel a flicker of control. The Sorting Hat barely hesitated before placing him in Slytherin, whispering in his mind about his cunning, his ambition, the lineage of Salazar Slytherin himself coursing through his veins. Tom didn't flinch at the green and silver banners. He embraced them, sensing they marked him as destined for more. From his very first potions class, Riddle Shun, his cauldrons bubbled with impossible precision, his incantations flawless, drawing murmurs from even the sternest professors. Slughorn, the rotund head of Slytherin House, took notice immediately. Horace Slughorn loved talent like a dragon hoards gold, and Tom was a vein of purest awe. He invited the boy to tea after just a month, praising his intellect, slipping him invitations to the Slug Club, exclusive gatherings where future ministers and Quidditch stars mingled. Tom played the part perfectly, polite, eager, hanging on Slughorn's every word about powerful wizardry families, their secrets, their spells. But beneath the model student's facade, Tom was weaving a subtler web. He charmed the faculty one by one. Professor Merrythought in Dark Arts found his essays brilliant, overlooking how they lingered on curses just a touch too long. Dipper, the headmaster, saw a prefect in the making, appointing him head boy by 5th year. Even the caretaker, peering suspiciously at the vanishing pets and bloodstains near the girls' bathroom, dismissed the rumours when Tom offered a sympathetic ear and a few galleons from his growing hoard of stolen goods. Slughorn became his greatest mark. Over butterbeers in the staff room, Tom feigned wide-eyed curiosity about the soul's divisions, Horcruxes whispered only in the darkest tomes. One night in 1943, as the fire crackled and Slughorn's cheeks flushed from wine, the boy pressed. "What was a Horcrux, sir? How might one split the soul?" Slughorn balked at first, his walrus moustache twitching, but Tom's flattery, praising Slughorn's unmatched knowledge, cracked him. Stammering, the professor admitted it involved murder, a deliberate act to fracture the soul and seal a fragment in an object. Just the one, he emphasized, before swearing Tom to secrecy and begging him never to speak of it again. Tom smiled, filing the knowledge away like a venomous secret. He left that conversation with the blueprint for immortality, his first true step beyond humanity. By his 4th year, Riddle's researches deepened. He pored over Hogwarts' restricted section, under the invisibility cloak he'd charmed from a classmate, tracing his mother's gaunt lineage back to Slytherin himself. Whispers from the castle's stones called to him. Hisses only he could hear, promising a hidden chamber where the air could prove his purity. The discovery came on a rain-lashed night in 1943. In a dank second-floor bathroom, Myrtle Warren's sobs echoed as Tom tested the sink's serpent-marked tap. "Speak to it," he commanded in Parseltongue, and the walls groaned open, revealing a vast tunnel plunging into darkness. He descended alone, torchlight flickering on slime-slicked walls, the air growing colder, heavier with ancient magic. At the chamber's heart lay Slytherin's monster, a colossal basilisk, its scales like armoured emeralds, yellow eyes slitted with hunger. Tom commanded it effortlessly, the serpent's mind bending to his will as if born for this. He released it not once, but in calculated strikes, framing Muggle-borns as the culprits to stoke Slytherin's house pride. The first death shattered the calm. Myrtle, a bespectacled Ravenclaw with a penchant for wailing in that very bathroom, peered into a stall one evening. The basilisk's gaze met hers through a cracked pipe, yellow death flashing. She crumpled lifeless, her body found pale and rigid, eyes wide in eternal terror. Panic rippled through Hogwarts. Classes halted, professors scoured the castle, Dippet pleaded for answers. Tom feigned horror, even shedding a crocodile tear for the Daily Prophet, while his diary absorbed the thrill, inking his diary's pages with glee. Suspicion fell on Hagrid, the bumbling half-giant with his massive spider Aragog. But Tom ensured the threads pointed there. Dumbledore watched closer now, his half-moon spectacles glinting with unease, yet even he couldn't pierce the perfect alibi. That summer of 1944, as wartime shadows lengthened over the Muggle world, Tom returned to the orphanage one last time. He gathered his scant belongings, but not before charming the matron into rewriting records, erasing his past. Staring into a cracked mirror, he rearranged the letters of his name. Tom Marvolo Riddle. I am Lord Voldemort. The words slithered out like serpents' hiss, shedding the mudblood taint of his father's name. No longer the orphan or the prodigy. He was reborn, a monster cloaked in charm, his soul already plotting its first fracture. By graduation in 1945, the faculty sang his praises, oblivious to the basilisk slumbering below. Voldemort had arrived, his army's seeds sown in Slytherin's dungeons. As we turn the page to chapter 14, the Horcrux hunt begins. You'll uncover the chilling rituals that shattered his soul forever, and the unwitting victims who paid the price. What dark object claimed the first fragment? Stay with me. With the echoes of Myrtle's death still haunting the castle's pipes, Tom Riddle stepped out of Hogwarts in 1945, his prefect badge gleaming one final time under the summer sun. He was 18 now, tall and impossibly handsome, with that flawless skin and dark hair swept back just so, charming everyone who crossed his path. But beneath it all, a serpent stirred. Dumbledore watched him go, sensing the void where a soul should be, yet powerless to stop what was already in motion. Riddle vanished into the Muggle world first, shedding his school robes for a threadbare suit as he prowled London's shadowed alleys. He took a job at Borgin and Burke's, that dingy nocturne alley shop crammed with cursed objects and whispering relics. "Mister, Borgin himself hired him on the spot, dazzled by the young man's knowledge of dark artifacts. There, amid the dust-choked shelves lined with shrunken heads and venomous fangs, Riddle thrived. He sold poisoned candles that induced sleepwalking horrors, and rings that drove wearers mad with whispers of lost gold. Customers leaned in close, their breaths ragged with forbidden curiosity, as he described each item of power in a voice smooth as black silk. But it was the collector's visits that ignited his true hunger. Eccentric purebloods, hoarding heirlooms from wizarding history, paraded through the shop, flaunting treasures Riddle coveted. He memorized their lineages, their weaknesses, the way their fingers trembled on ancient lockets and goblets. Nights found him alone in the back room, poring over yellowed tomes by wandlight, the air thick with the metallic tang of old magic. He sought the deepest secrets now, the ones even Slughorn had skirted, the arts that twisted life itself. Whispers of immortality drew him like a moth to flame, pulling him beyond Britain's fog-shrouded shores. Riddle's travels after graduation marked the true descent into the deepest dark arts, an odyssey spanning continents over the next decade. He resigned from Borgin and Berks under a cloud of suspicion, vanishing into the ether, first to the shadowed libraries of Europe, where he bartered souls for forbidden scrolls in crumbling Albanian castles, the wind howling through cracked stone like damned spirits. He trekked to the opium dens of Asia, where warlocks etched runes into their flesh for visions of eternity, the air heavy with incense and the coppery scent of blood rituals. In Africa's sun-baked wastes, near Ouagadougou's hidden spires, he learned from outcasts who communed with ancient demons through wandless incantations, their hands glowing with ethereal fire that seared the air. Further still, to South America's cursed jungles, where he delved into vaults guarded by spectral jaguars, unearthing tomes on soul division penned by long-dead sorcerers. The humid nights pressed in, alive with the rustle of unseen predators, as Riddle practiced alone, testing curses that peeled back layers of reality, his reflection in jungle pools growing sharper, more feral. He returned changed, his once perfect features hardening, eyes sinking into hollows as if shadows pooled beneath them. The world's darkest corners had fed his ambition, arming him with knowledge that made Borgin's wares seem like children's toys. Back in Britain by the early 50s, his gaze fixed on relics of unparalleled power. Hepzibah Smith, a plump, rosy-cheeked descendant of Helga Hufflepuff, became his next mark. She lived in a Crookshanks villa bursting with antiques, her house elf Hokey bustling about with trays of coconut fudge. Hepzibah adored showing off her treasures to handsome young salesmen like Riddle, fluttering her lace-trimmed eyelids as she unlocked her cabinets. On that fateful visit, she unveiled Slytherin's locket first, a gold or-wheel heavy with serpentine S, glinting malevolently in the parlour's firelight. Its chain felt cold as death against her fingers, and she cooed about its history, oblivious to Riddle's paling face, his sudden hunger. Then came Hufflepuff's cup, nestled in a velvet case, its badger engravings etched with badger gold that seemed to pulse with earthy warmth. Hepzibah babbled of its founder's benevolence, but Riddle saw only destiny. He returned days later, disguised in charm and compliments, slipping her a draught of his own devising. Colourless, odourless, irresistible, she sipped it amid giggles, eyes glazing as it coursed through her veins. The murder of Hepzibah Smith was swift, merciless, a flash of green light from his wand, her body crumpling amid spilled sweets and shattered porcelain. Hokey found her mistress cold, the elf's memory muddled by a confundus charm, confessing to accidental poisoning. The Daily Prophet splashed it across headlines. But Riddle was gone, the founder's relics tucked into his pocket, the locket from Slytherin, whispering temptations, and Hufflepuff's cup, humming with absorbed loyalty. These weren't mere thefts, they were steps toward godhood. Armed with the diary Horcrux from Myrtle's death, Riddle began the physical mutilation of Tom Riddle, as he split his soul into multiple fragments. Each act was agony incarnate, a ritual demanding murder to rip the soul's core, then incantations to encase the shards in vessels of meaning. In forsaken Albanian caves, rain lashing the stone like accusations, he first claimed the locket. The killing curse on an unknown muggle echoed, off walls, slick with moss, the air splitting with otherworldly screams only he could hear. His soul tore free, a barbed wire of light shredding from his chest, leaving him doubled over, retching ectoplasm that burned his lips. The cup followed in a derelict orphanage, its victim a thief who crossed him in Peru. The severance mangled him further, nose flattening slightly, skin stretching taut over sharpening bones, a red gleam flickering in his eyes. He bound the fragments amid blood-smeared runes, the relics, pulsing as soul shards burrowed in, corrupting their magic. Nose after nose, he ventured abroad again, claiming a ring from the gaunt hovel, his own ancestry's ruin, and later Ravenclaw's diadem from a dusty Godric's hollow attic. Each split etched deeper scars, nostrils narrowing to slits, teeth yellowing, fingers elongating into claw-like talons. By the 6th, in 1979, his humanity frayed to threads. The man who charmed Borgin now a gaunt spectre, pale as bone, with eyes like burning coals. These Horcruxes anchored him beyond death's grasp, hidden in places of personal triumph. The diary his schoolboy malice, the locket his pure blood pride. But the toll showed in mirrors he avoided, his reflection a harbinger of the monster emerging. Whispers spread in Diagon Alley's underbelly, a dark wizard recruiting, serpents coiling at his command. The ministry dismissed it as rumour, but Dumbledore knew. The boy from Wolves had become something ancient, unstoppable. As Riddle shed his name for Voldemort, gathering Death Eaters in shadowed graveyards, the wizarding world teetered on war's brink. What happened when this fragmented soul unleashed his army on Britain? That's the inferno we'll ignite in our next chapter, the First Wizarding War, where loyalty shatters, prophecies ignite, and the streets run with curses. Stay with me as the shadows lengthen. By the late 1950s, Tom Riddle had vanished into the shadows of Europe and beyond, his suitcase clutched with stolen treasures. The locket of a Slytherin and Helga Hufflepuff's golden cup, both now twisted into Horcruxes, fragments of his soul hidden from the world. But the pull of power drew him back across the channel, no longer as the unassuming employee of Borgin and Berks, but reborn in the darkness he craved. He emerged in Britain as Lord Voldemort, his name a hiss that chilled the air, his face pale and serpentine, eyes like slits of red fire. Whispers spread through the hidden corners of wizarding society. From the leaky cauldron's fogged windows to the echoing halls of the ministry, he was no mere dark wizard. He was a force, gathering followers who saw in him the promise of pure blood supremacy. Voldemort wasted no time. He sought out those whose hearts echoed his disdain for muggle-borns and blood traitors. The ambitious Slytherins from his own Hogwarts days, who had felt the sting of a world that no longer bowed to ancient lineages. In dimly lit rooms beneath London streets, amid the flicker of black candles and the acrid scent of potion fumes, he recruited his first Death Eaters, men like Antonin Dolohov, whose dueling prowess had already marked him as ruthless. The Lestrange brothers, Rodolphus and Rabastan, bound by fanatic loyalty and family curses of their own. And young Severus Snape, still a boy when approached, drawn by promises of power and protection for the half-blood he secretly was. They took the dark mark upon their arms, a skull and serpent that burned like ice, a vow of eternal service. These were not mere thugs. They were ideologues, pure bloods who believed Voldemort's vision would cleanse the wizarding world, subjugating muggles and elevating their kind to rightful dominion. Recruits swelled quietly at first, rosier, not the avarice. Each initiation a ritual of oaths sworn over goblets of blood-red wine, their masks gleaming silver in the gloom. Voldemort's charisma was a venomous lure, promising not just glory, but immortality through the magic he alone mastered. Word of these gatherings leaked like poison into the veins of British wizardry. Fear took root in the cobblestoned alleys of Diagon Alley, where shopkeepers bolted doors early, and parents clutched their children closer. Muggle-borns began to vanish, First a healer in Kent, her screams silenced by Cruciatus before the killing curse. Then a family in Godric's Hollow, their home marked with the skull symbol that came to mean death. Newspapers like the Daily Prophet screamed headlines of Grindelwald's shadow returns. But the truth was worse. Unmarked graves multiplied. Werewolves prowled under full moons with new masters. Giants stirred in distant mountains, lured by Voldemort's envoys bearing gifts of enchanted weapons. The air grew thick with dread, a palpable fog that seeped into hearths and hearthsides. Wizards double-checked wards on their homes. Flu networks buzzed with frantic calls, and even the bravest joked uneasily about the he who must not be named. His true name a taboo that twisted tongues. The Ministry of Magic, that sprawling bureaucracy of polished oak and flickering green lanterns, reeled under the onslaught. Ministers came and went in a blur of emergency sessions. Eugenia Jenkins first, then Harold Mincham, each grasping for control as attacks escalated. Desperation birthed authoritarian edicts. Auror squads tripled overnight, granted sweeping powers to detain suspects without trial, their black robes sweeping through Hogsmeade like storm clouds. Muggle-born registration acts whispered through corridors, mandatory blood tests to verify loyalty, fueling paranoia that pitted neighbour against neighbour. Azkaban's towers loomed larger, crammed with suspects, Dementors gliding closer to the mainland as guards. Curfews blanketed wizarding villages, international travel restricted. Even Quidditch leagues suspended amid whispers of sabotage. Propaganda flooded the Prophet. Stand with the Ministry. Report suspicious activity. Posters plastered everywhere. Eyes of stern wizards following you from the walls. Yet for all their iron grip, cracks showed. Bribes silenced witnesses. Death Eaters infiltrated lower ranks, and the minister's office echoed with futile debates as Voldemort's shadow lengthened unchecked. Amid this rising terror, one man saw the storm's full fury before most. Albus Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts and bearer of secrets heavier than his half-moon spectacles, knew Voldemort's nature from their shared past. Bumped the orphanage boy to the Horcrux hunter. He refused to wait for the ministry's crumbling walls to fall. In 1970, from the candlelit back room of the Hog's Head in Hogsmeade, Dumbledore forged the Order of the Phoenix. It was a clandestine fellowship, Phoenix emblem burned into palms as a subtler mark than any Dark Lord's brand. A fiery bird rising from ashes, symbol of defiance, he called the pure-hearted and the fierce. James and Lily Potter, young Aurors with wands quick as lightning. Sirius Black, heir to ancient fury, piloting his motorbike through night skies. Remus Lupin, a werewolf who fought his curse with fiercer resolve. Frank and Alice Longbottom, unyielding in their bravery, and stalwarts like Aberforth Dumbledore. Moody with his rotating eye already scanning for traitors, and a web of others from Sturgis Podmore to Daedalus Diggle. They met in hidden safe-houses, the air thick with maps marked in glowing ink. Plans whispered over polyjuice disguises. The Order struck back, raids on Death Eater lairs, rescues of marked families, intelligence that thwarted assassinations. It was guerrilla magic at its rawest, phoenix fire against encroaching dark, binding them in loyalty that Voldemort could never buy. The war stretched on, a grinding shadow war through the 70s, bodies piling in unmarked pits, families shattered, the wizarding world holding its breath as Voldemort's legions grew. But a single prophecy, uttered in a dingy pub on a winter night, would ignite the spark that toppled him. In our next chapter, The Prophecy, discover the words that sealed fates and birthed a saviour, words overheard by a rat in the shadows. As the First Wizarding War ground on through the late 1970s, with Voldemort's Death Eaters striking from the shadows, and the Ministry imposing curfews, checkpoints and loyalty oaths that frayed every nerve in Wizarding Britain, a single moment in a dingy pub would ignite the spark that finally broke the Dark Lord's reign. It happened on a cold winter evening in 1980, in the Hog's Head Inn, that ramshackle tavern tucked away in Hogsmeade, its grimy windows fogged against the Highland chill, and its air thick with the scent of stale butterbeer and goat. Albus Dumbledore had slipped in there for a quiet job interview, seeking a new professor for divination at Hogwarts. Across the scarred wooden table sat Sybil Trelawney, a distant relative of the great Cassandra Trelawney, draped in gauzy shawls that shimmered faintly in moonlight, her enormous glasses magnifying eyes that darted like trapped birds. She spoke in a misty voice, reciting the usual platitudes about inner eyes and crystal gazing, her hands fluttering over a teacup as if coaxing secrets from the leaves. Dumbledore listened politely, his half-moon spectacles glinting in the low light. But then something shifted. Trelawney's body went rigid. Her voice dropped to a low hiss that cut through the pub's murmurs like a knife through fog, and she delivered a prophecy that would echo through history. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches, she intoned, born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the 7th month dies, and the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal. But he will have power the Dark Lord knows not, and either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. The words poured out in a trance, her eyes rolled back, oblivious to the world. Unbeknownst to her, a young man lingered in the shadows near the bar, eavesdropping through a chink in the door. Severus Snape, still clinging to the fringes of the Death Eater cause, but already harbouring cracks of doubt, caught only the first part. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord, born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the 7th month dies. That fragment burned into his mind. Terrified of what it meant for his master, Snape rushed straight to Voldemort with it, betraying the full context without realising the peril he unleashed. Voldemort, ensconced in his grim fortress, obsessed over those words. Two boys fit the description perfectly. Born at the end of July 1980, to parents who had defied him 3 times as Aurors fighting for the Order of the Phoenix. Harry Potter, son of James and Lily, hidden away in Godric's Hollow, or Neville Longbottom, child of Frank and Alice, under heavy guard after their torture at the hands of Bellatrix Lestrange. Voldemort fixated on Harry, perhaps because the Potters were linked to his old school rivalries, or because Lily was Muggle-born, fueling his blood purity rage. He marked Harry as the threat, launching the curse that would rebound spectacularly. That partial prophecy, overheard in the Hog's Head's smoky haze, became Voldemort's fatal flaw. Snape delivered it with desperate loyalty, never imagining how it twisted the knife into his own heart later. When he learned of Lily's death, Trelawney herself barely remembered the trance, swept off to Hogwarts in a daze, her career saved by Dumbledore, who recognised true Sirius power amid the fraud. Yet that utterance hung over the war like a gathering storm, narrowing infinite possibilities into a deadly choice. Wizards whispered about it in hushed tones behind warded doors, the Ministry dismissing it as hysteria, while the Order clung to its hope. The 2 potential candidates, Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom, became living symbols of resistance, their families vanishing into protective custody as Death Eaters hunted relentlessly. Voldemort's error in choosing one over the other sowed the seeds of his downfall, for prophecies demand fulfillment in ways the mighty least expect. You can feel the weight of it even now, that fragile thread of fate stretching across the battle-scarred landscape of Britain. But what unfolded on the night Voldemort descended upon a quiet cottage in Godric's Hollow would shatter everything. Stay with me as we uncover the chilling details in the next chapter, The Night at Godric's Hollow, with Sybil Trelawney's prophecy echoing through the shadowed corridors of the Hog's Head. Voldemort zeroed in on his foe. The words had marked 2 boys as potential threats. Harry Potter, born to James and Lily on July 31st, 1981, and Neville Longbottom, born just a day earlier the previous year. But Voldemort, ever the strategist, dismissed Neville. Harry's parents had thwarted him 3 times already, and that defiance demanded retribution. He chose Harry, sealing the child's fate as his equal with a single fateful decision. The Potters, sensing the noose tightening, vanished into hiding. James and Lily retreated to Godric's Hollow, a quaint, wizarding village nestled in the rolling hills of the West Country, where ancient magic lingered in the air like mist off the sea. Cottages with thatched roofs huddled together, their windows glowing with warm wandlight on crisp autumn evenings. Muggles passed by oblivious, while witches whispered protections over their gardens. And the air carried the faint scent of wood smoke, mingled with potion fumes from hidden hearths. It was a place of comfort and community, home to legends like Ignotus Peverell, whose grave still stood in the churchyard, etched with the words, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." To shield themselves, the Potters invoked the Fidelius Charm, one of the most potent concealment spells known to wizard kind, cast by none other than Sirius Black, James's fiercely loyal best friend. It bound their location into a single living soul, the secret keeper. Only that person could reveal where the cottage lay, rendering it invisible and impenetrable to all others. Sirius, with his motorbike roaring through the night skies and his animagus form of a great black dog, seemed the perfect guardian. His devotion to the Potters was unbreakable, forged in the fires of Hogwarts mischief and wartime brotherhood. But paranoia twisted their plans. Sirius insisted he was the obvious target, too hotly pursued by Death Eaters to hold the secret safely. In a desperate bid for misdirection, they switched the role to Peter Pettigrew, small, unassuming Peter, the third of their marauder trio. Rat Animagus, tail-wagging lackey, the one who always followed in Sirius's shadow. Peter accepted, his voice trembling with feigned honour as he pocketed the immense trust placed in him. No one suspected the worm at the heart of their circle. For weeks the Potters lived in fragile peace, Harry gurgling in his crib amid charmed mobiles that danced with sparks, while Lily sang soft lullabies infused with protective charms, her red hair catching the firelight like flames. Halloween night arrived on October 31st, 1981, under a harvest moon that bathed Godric's Hollow in silver. Jack-o'-lanterns flickered on doorsteps, carved with grinning faces that seemed to mock the gathering dread. Inside the cottage, laughter rang out faintly, James bouncing Harry on his knee, Lily stirring a cauldron of pumpkin pasties for the holiday. The Fidelius held firm, or so they believed. But Peter had already betrayed them. Cowering in an alley days earlier, he'd confessed everything to Voldemort, trading their lives for his own. The Dark Lord, cloaked in shadow, learned the secret with a sneer, his red eyes gleaming as he apparated to the village's edge. The attack unfolded in heartbeats of horror. Voldemort strode through the Fidelius's veil, like a spectre, his robes billowing in an unnatural wind that rattled the cottage windows. James met him first at the door, wand raised, shouting for Lily to take Harry and run. No time for spells, no duel, just a flash of green light. Avada Kedavra, Voldemort hissed, and James crumpled lifeless to the floor, his glasses askew, eyes staring blankly at the ceiling painted with tiny snitches. The killing curse left no mark, no struggle, only silence where a father's defiance had burned moments before. Upstairs, Lily barred the nursery door with trembling hands, her heart pounding like a war drum. Voldemort blasted it splintered with a casual wave, his lipless mouth curling in anticipation. She stood between him and the crib, green eyes blazing with a mother's fury. "Not Harry, not Harry, please not Harry," she begged, wand discarded in desperate sacrifice. Voldemort laughed, a sound like shattering glass. "Stand aside, you silly girl. Stand aside now." But Lily refused, throwing herself forward as the curse struck her down. In that instant of pure, selfless love, ancient magic surged, older than Hogwarts, deeper than any charm. Lily Potter's sacrificial protection enveloped Harry like an unbreakable shield, a love so fierce it warped the very fabric of the curse. The rebounding killing curse struck Voldemort with apocalyptic force. Green lightning erupted, shattering the crib, exploding the roof skyward in a roar of flame and debris. The cottage buckled, walls crumbling into the night, as shockwaves rippled through Godric's Hollow, snuffing jack-o'-lanterns and rattling windows for miles. Voldemort's body disintegrated in a howl of dark magic gone wrong. Flesh vaporized, soul shrieking as it fled, bodiless and raging. He vanished, the reign of terror ending not with a whimper, but a cataclysmic snap that echoed across Britain. In the rubble, amid smoke and settling dust that choked the air with acrid bite, infant Harry lay wailing. A lightning bolt scar seared his forehead, the curse's mark, but he lived. The boy who lived, they would call him. The child who toppled the Dark Lord. Dawn broke grey and stunned, revealing the devastation. James and Lily gone, their bodies entwined protectively even in death. Hagrid arrived on Sirius's motorbike, tears streaming as he cradled Harry away from the ruins. Whispers spread like fiendfire. Voldemort defeated, the war over. Celebrations erupted in Diagon Alley. Masks torn from Death Eaters, who scattered into the shadows. Peter faking his death amid a street of blasted muggles to vanish as a rat. Yet victory tasted bittersweet. The wizarding world rejoiced, toasting the scar-headed survivor. But questions lingered in the chill wind. Where had Peter fled? What dark remnants clung to Voldemort's shattered form? And Harry, orphaned and marked, faced a new chapter thrust upon him. Hidden away from the fame that would one day claim him. What became of the boy, who lived in those fragile first years, crammed into a cupboard under the stairs, with a family that despised magic itself? That's the tale waiting in Chapter 18. The Boy in the Cupboard, that fateful rebounding killing curse on October 31st, 1981, didn't just obliterate Voldemort's body. It marked baby Harry Potter with a jagged lightning bolt scar on his forehead, the only evidence of the war's end etched into his skin. Albus Dumbledore, ever the guardian of fragile hopes, placed the wailing infant on the doorstep of number 4, Privet Drive, in the dead of night, alongside a letter explaining everything to his only surviving blood relative, Petunia Dursley. Little did Harry know, this ordinary suburban house, with its impeccably mowed lawn and gleaming windows, would become his prison for the next decade. Vernon and Petunia Dursley embodied everything the wizarding world had fled. Rigid normalcy, a terror of anything unusual that might shatter their facade of perfection. Petunia, Lily's older sister, had long harboured a bitter resentment toward her magical sibling, glimpsing the wizarding world only once through a keyhole as a child, forever barred from its wonders. When baby Harry arrived, bundled against the cold, they saw not family, but a threat. From that first morning, they stuffed him into the smallest cupboard under the stairs, its dusty shelves crammed with spiders and forgotten cobwebs. The door locked each night with a heavy click that echoed his isolation. For 10 long years, Harry's world shrank to chores and cruelty. He scrubbed floors until his knuckles bled, cooked breakfasts for the bloated Dudley before dawn, and wore hand-me-down clothes that hung like sacks on his skinny frame. Dudley's cast-offs, stretched and faded from his cousin's endless gluttony. Birthdays passed unmarked, save for Dudley's parade of gifts. 37 presents on his 11th, each more extravagant than the last, while Harry got a coat peg or a pair of Uncle Vernon's old socks. Punishments came swift for the slightest infraction. Dudley's smashed toys blamed on Harry, no matter the truth. The Dursleys whispered of his freakishness, his unnatural luck, but never dared speak the word magic aloud, as if naming it might summon the abnormality they despised. Yet Harry's magic stirred beneath the surface, wild and untamed, bursting forth in moments of desperation they could never fully suppress. At age 3, his hair grew back overnight after Petunia sheared it short in fury, leaving him with a wild mop by morning. When Dudley punched him bloody at 5, Harry's hand somehow broke his cousin's nose without a touch. At the zoo on Dudley's birthday outing, Harry's accidental stare freed a boa constrictor from its glass enclosure. The snake hissed gratitude in a voice only he understood before slithering free, while Dudley wailed in terror. Each incident drew harsher reprisals. The cupboard door bolted from outside, days without food, endless lectures on blending in. Vernon would bellow about drills and hard work, Petunia about blood that didn't belong, drilling into Harry that he was worthless, abnormal, a burden to be hidden away. No hugs, no stories at bedtime, no glimpse of the boy his parents had cradled. Just the damp chill of the cupboard, where he curled up dreaming of lights in the sky he couldn't explain. By his 11th birthday, July 31st, Harry's spirit had hardened into quiet resilience. But the wizarding world refused to forget him. That morning, amid the Dursleys' forced normalcy, Dudley moaning over fewer presents than last year, an owl arrived, dropping a letter through the mail slot. Thick yellowed parchment, sealed with emerald wax bearing a coat of arms. Lion, eagle, badger, serpent intertwined. Addressed precisely to Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs. 4 Privet Drive. Petunia snatched it, face paling to chalk, but more followed. Evie as a bishop's hat, owls from chimney, window, even the eggs in breakfast. By evening, they flooded the house, hundreds piling in drifts, sender none other than no one. Vernon, sweating and red-faced, hammered nails over every crack, but the onslaught persisted, relentless as Harry's buried destiny. Desperate, the Dursleys fled to the flimsiest hut on a storm-lashed rock in the sea, midnight tolling like a warning. Harry, shivering on the threadbare floor, heard the first thunderous knocks at 1 a.m, booming, unyielding. The door splintered inward, and there loomed Rubeus Hagrid, half-giant gamekeeper of Hogwarts, 7 feet tall with wild black beard, beetle black eyes, and a tangle of matted hair. His massive frame filled the doorway, rain streaming off his moleskin coat, a pink umbrella clutched in one meaty fist. "Sorry about the door," he rumbled, voice like gravel in a landslide, eyes fixed on Harry with a mix of fury and fierce affection. He'd baked a lopsided chocolate cake himself, iced with "Happy Birthday, Harry" in wonky green letters, the first real birthday gift Harry had ever known. Hagrid's arrival shattered the Dursleys' world in an instant. He revealed Harry's heritage, not freak, but wizard, son of James and Lily Potter, the boy who lived. With a casual flick of his umbrella, he transfigured Dudley's piggy tail back to normal, proof undeniable. Handing over Hogwarts' acceptance letter, he recounted Voldemort's downfall, the scar's meaning, igniting Harry's first spark of wonder. Dudley gaped, Vernon spluttered threats, Petunia wept silent tears of old envy. But Hagrid swept Harry away on midnight motorcycle sidecar, soaring through clouds toward a hidden London. Stepping into the leaky cauldron marked Harry's re-entry into the wizarding world, the grimy pub door swinging open to gasps and whispers. "Is that Can I Tom?" The innkeeper stammered, shaking Harry's hand as if it were gold. Wizards crowded round, eyes wide behind spectacles, murmuring "Bless my soul" and "Harry Potter, the boy who lived." Daedalus Diggle bowed low. Doris Crockford gripped his hand repeatedly. All strangers who knew his name, his story, the lightning scar that made him legend. Diagon Alley unfolded next, cobblestones thrumming underfoot, shops bursting with cauldrons, broomsticks, owls hooting from perches. Gringotts goblins weighed him like treasure, Vault 713 spilling galleons, sickles, knuts. Ollivander's wand chose Harry. Holly and Phoenix Feather 11 inches, his magic surging true at last. In Hagrid's boat across the underground lake, Harry's reflection stared back, a scrawny boy with untidy black hair, green eyes like his mother's, and a fame he couldn't comprehend. The wizarding world had waited 11 years for its saviour, hidden in a cupboard, magic beaten down but never extinguished. Whispers of his return rippled through hidden corners, from Hogsmeade's butterbeer taps to ministry corridors, promising wonders ahead. But Harry's true test awaits in Chapter 19. The Philosopher's Stone, where ancient secrets and deadly guardians guard a prize that could resurrect the darkest evil. Stick around to uncover how his first year at Hogwarts ignites it all, with Hagrid's booming voice still echoing through the rickety hut on that fateful rock in the sea. Harry Potter stepped into a world that had been waiting for him for 10 long years. The giant gamekeeper bundled the boy onto his motorbike sidecar, rocketing them toward a destiny hidden beneath everyday muggle life. By dawn, they touched down in a hidden corner of London, where brick walls parted like reluctant curtains to reveal Diagon Alley, the bustling heart of wizarding commerce, lined with shops hawking everything from owls to potion ingredients under the watchful eye of Gringotts Bank, that ancient goblin stronghold carved deep into the earth. Harry's first wand chose him at Ollivander's, a phoenix feather core from Fawkes itself humming in his grip, marking the start of something profound. School supplies gathered, a snowy owl named Hedwig at his side. Harry boarded the Hogwarts Express from platform 9 3/4, steam billowing like dragon breath. There, amid the Scarlet Engine's rattle, he met Ronald Weasley, the red-haired youngest son of a pure-blood family scraping by on love and hand-me-down robes, and later Hermione Granger, the brilliant muggle-born with teeth like a beaver's and a memory for spells that could fill libraries. Hogwarts loomed at journey's end, its turrets piercing storm clouds over the Black Lake, where first years crossed in rickety boats under the watchful gaze of the giant squid. The Great Hall welcomed them with floating candles and enchanted ceiling mirroring the starry sky. The Sorting Hat, belting out its ancient song of the Founder's traits, Gryffindor's bravery, Hufflepuff's loyalty, Ravenclaw's wit, Slytherin's cunning. Harry joined the Lion's Table, his scar prickling faintly as if sensing eyes upon him. Classes began in a whirlwind of wonder and peril. Flying lessons with Neville Longbottom's disastrous broom mishap. Potions under the sneering Severus Snape, whose dark eyes lingered too long on Harry's forehead. Transfiguration with the stern Minerva McGonagall, who could turn herself into a tabby cat striped with spectacles. Charms with tiny Professor Flitwick, levitating feathers into frenzied dances. But whispers soon spread of something sinister. A three-headed dog named Fluffy, guarding a trapdoor in the third-floor corridor, its slobbering growls hinting at treasures below. You might wonder what could rouse such a beast. It guarded the Philosopher's Stone, that legendary elixir of immortality crafted by Nicolas Flamel, the oldest living wizard at 665 years. Flamel, a shadowy figure from medieval France, had unlocked alchemy's deepest secrets alongside his wife Perenelle, transmuting base metals to gold and brewing the stone's crimson liquid to defy death itself. Whispers in the library led Harry, Ron and Hermione to dusty tomes revealing Flamel's existence, tying back to ancient traditions like those at Uagadou in Africa, where wandless alchemists shaped matter with bare hands. The trio pieced it together. Someone at Hogwarts sought stone to restore life to the one who should have stayed gone. Christmas brought gifts and the mirror of Erist, that cruel antique showing deepest desires. Harry saw his parents' warm embrace, green eyes mirroring his own, only to learn from Dumbledore its peril of endless longing. Meanwhile, in the Forbidden Forest, centaurs spoke of unicorn blood spilled, silver life force drained by a cloaked figure whose face burned like agony. Harry's scar throbbed sharper now, pain lancing through his dreams of green light and a high, cold laugh. Quirinus Quirrell, the stammering defence against the dark arts professor with his garlic-scented turban, unravelled the mystery. No mere stutterer, he harboured a horror on the back of his head. The return of Voldemort as a parasitic entity on Professor Quirrell, the Dark Lord's ravaged soul clinging like a leech, whispering commands, feeding on Fifth and unicorn gore to regain strength. That foul wraith, bodiless since Godric's Hollow, had slithered to Albania's forests, possessing the hapless Quirrell during his travels. Together, they plotted to seize the stone, Quirrell's wide eyes glazing over, as Voldemort's lipless mouth hissed from beneath the cloth. Hermione's logic, Ron's strategy, Harry's instinct forged them into a unit. The troll incident in the bathroom had already tested them, Hermione's Wingardium Leviosa toppling the beast. But this was their first major trial. The protection of Nicolas Flamel's immortality. They slipped past Fluffy with a harp's lullaby, dropped through the trapdoor into Devil's Snare's strangling vines, Hermione's blue flames setting them free. A swarm of flying keys demanded Harry's Quidditch reflexes, snatching the silver dart mid-air. Giant chess pieces crushed and bled under Ron's sacrificial command, his broken wand arm a badge of valor. The troll's chamber lay empty, already bested, leading to potions. Hermione's deduction parting the way with icy logic, leaving Harry alone. In the Chamber of Mirrors, Quirrell unwound his turban, revealing Voldemort's serpentine face, red eyes gleaming with malice. The Dark Lord urged the stone's location. But Harry's touch burned Quirrell's flesh like holy fire, Lily's ancient protection lingering. Dumbledore arrived in time, the stone safe, Flamel choosing mortality over endless life, smashing it himself in quiet dignity. From his office tower, Albus Dumbledore gazed out over the grounds, the decade's peace fracturing like flawed crystal. He realized then that the peace of the last decade was coming to an end. Voldemort stirred, shadows lengthening toward a new war, yet hope flickered in the boy with the lightning scar. That fragile calm wouldn't hold through Harry's second year when Chapter 20. The Heir of Slytherin returns unleashes a terror from the castle's depths. Who could it be? And why do the walls whisper of an ancient chamber opening once more? I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. With the Philosopher's Stone safely protected, and Voldemort's feeble grasp on life through Quirrell severed, Harry Potter returned to Hogwarts for his second year, unaware that an ancient terror long sealed away was stirring once more beneath the castle's foundations. Whispers of unease rippled through the corridors as students arrived on the Hogwarts Express. But it was that very first night, during the Halloween feast, when the horror truly unveiled itself. Mrs. Norris, the skeletal cat belonging to the caretaker Argus Filch, lay rigid and lifeless on the cold stone floor, her eyes wide in petrified shock. Above her, scrawled in glistening blood-red letters across the wall, were words that chilled every soul in the Great Hall. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the Heir, beware. Panic spread like fiend fire through the school. The Chamber of Secrets, a legendary myth tied to Salazar Slytherin himself, one of Hogwarts' 4 founders from nearly 1,000 years ago. Slytherin, with his pure-blood supremacy, had built the hidden lair deep underground, concealing a monstrous serpent guardian meant to rid the school of those he deemed unworthy. Muggle-born witches and wizards. For centuries it remained locked, its existence dismissed as folklore, but now the petrifications began. First Colin Creevey, the eager first-year Gryffindor with his ever-present camera, frozen mid-smile, steam still rising from his ruined film. Then Justin Finch Fletchley, the Hufflepuff boy, sprawled petrified beside the ghost, nearly headless Nick, whose translucent form hung in eerie suspension, silvery blood pooling invisibly on the floor. You could feel the castle holding its breath. Professors patrolled the halls with wands drawn, the air thick with suspicion and the faint, acrid scent of fear sweet from huddled students. Moaning Myrtle's bathroom echoed with sobs, rumours swirling that the heir of Slytherin walked among them, a descendant of the great serpent lord, commanding the beast through ancient magic. Classes dragged under the weight of it all. Professors like McGonagall lecturing on vigilance, while their eyes darted to shadows. Hagrid's lessons on skeletal creatures took on a grim irony, and even Quidditch matches felt shadowed by dread, broomsticks slicing through fog that seemed heavier than usual. Then came the dueling club, organised by the reluctant Lockhart to boost morale, held in the Great Hall, transformed into a makeshift arena. Harry, paired against Draco Malfoy, unleashed a serpent from his wand in a moment of raw instinct, a massive coiling green beast slithering across the floor toward an unsuspecting Justin. Gasps filled the room as Harry, without thinking, hissed words in a strange, sibilant tongue, commanding the snake to back off. Parselpohong, the language of serpents, a rare gift passed through Slytherin's bloodline alone. The hall fell silent, then erupted. Eyes turned on Harry, the boy with the lightning scar, whispers turning to accusations. The heir of Slytherin. Whispers followed him everywhere now. Mudbloods beware echoing in stairwells. Gryffindors distancing themselves, even Ron's family eyeing him warily at meals. Suspicion coiled tighter than the basilisk itself. Harry's dormitory became a place of isolation. Friends grappling with doubt, while the Daily Prophet screamed headlines about the school's peril. Moaning Myrtle wailed prophecies of doom from her plumbing haunt, and Filch roamed like a vengeful spectre, muttering about hanging the culprit. The petrifications mounted. Hermione Granger herself, Harry's brilliant friend, found turned to stone in the library, her hand clutching a torn page from a forbidden book, her eyes forever fixed in mid-discovery. The trio's absence left a void, but Harry's parcel-tongue mark branded him the villain in the eyes of most. Death threats slipped under doors. Gryffindor common room debates raged late into the night, and Dumbledore's calm assurances rang hollow against the mounting terror. Who else could speak to snakes? Who else fit the heir's profile? Beneath it all lurked the true culprit, hidden in plain sight. Ginny Weasley, Ron's little sister, had found a small black diary amidst her school supplies, its pages blank and unassuming. Tom Riddle's diary, a dark artifact from the 1940s, when young Tom, future Lord Voldemort, had first opened the chamber as a student, unleashing the basilisk to petrify Mugborns and frame Hagrid. This wasn't mere ink. It was a Horcrux, a fragment of Riddle's shattered soul, poured into the diary during his 16th year to achieve immortality. Ginny, lonely and overwhelmed in her first year, poured her heart into its pages, and the diary drank her fears, possessing her slowly. Ink bled from her quill as Riddle's memory emerged, a handsome, charming shade who coaxed her deeper into his web, forcing her hand to reopen the chamber through pipes twisting like veins under the castle. Harry pieced it together through stolen moments, plumbing clues from Hermione's research, visions of a gaunt Ginny wasting away in the chamber's dank halls. He ventured alone into the depths, descending through Myrtle's toilet into a labyrinth of slimy tunnels, echoing with the basilisk's distant hiss. There, illuminated by torchlight on wet stone, Tom Riddle materialized fully from the diary, a 16-year-old projection, charismatic and cruel, commanding the massive serpent with a flick of his wand. Its scales gleamed like armored emeralds, yellow eyes promising death with a single gaze. Fawkes the Phoenix swooped in, talons clutching the sorting hat, from which tumbled the sword of Gryffindor, goblin-forged silver gleaming with rubies. Harry plunged the blade into the basilisk's maw as it lunged, fangs piercing his arm, venom burning like liquid fire. Riddle laughed, taunting the boy who lived, but Harry seized the diary and stabbed it through with a basilisk fang, black ink gushing like blood, as Riddle's form screamed and unravelled, dissolving into vapour. The first Horcrux destroyed, Voldemort's soul fragment obliterated in a torrent of agony. Ginny awoke, saved, the basilisk slain, the chamber sealed anew. Hogwarts exhaled, petrifications reversed by Phoenix tears, but scars lingered, trust fractured, secrets unearthed, yet peace was fleeting. As the school year closed, word arrived of a mass breakout from Azkaban, the Wizarding World's fortress prison shrouded in North Sea storms. A notorious convict, Sirius Black, had vanished into the night. Dementors dispatched to guard Hogwarts for the first time in history. What desperate measures would unfold? And what light might pierce that creeping darkness with a patronus charm? Find out in Chapter 21, The Prisoner and the Patronus. With the Chamber of Secrets sealed once again, its monstrous secrets buried under the girls' bathroom sink, Harry Potter returned to the Dursleys for another stifling summer, his parcel-tongue whispers fading into uneasy dreams. But as August waned, the wizarding world erupted with news that chilled even the stoutest hearts. Sirius Black had escaped from Azkaban. Azkaban, that fortress of despair perched on jagged rocks in the North Sea, had never seen a prisoner slip its chains. Built in the early 18th century under Minister Damocles' role, its walls were warded not just by spells, but by the Dementors themselves, soulless guardians who fed on happiness, leaving only terror in their wake. Sirius Black, convicted without trial 12 years earlier, was no ordinary inmate. Tall, dark-haired, once the closest friend of James and Lily Potter, he was accused of betraying them to Voldemort on that fateful Halloween night in Godric's Hollow. The wizarding papers screamed it. Black had been their secret keeper, revealing their hiding place to the Dark Lord. In the chaos after the attack, he had pursued Peter Pettigrew through London streets, blasting 15 muggles to pieces in a single curse. Before Pettigrew vanished in a puff of smoke, his finger left as grim evidence of his death, Sirius laughed madly as auras dragged him away. Condemned to rot amid the Dementors' endless chill, yet whispers persisted even in Azkaban's fog-shrouded cells. Sirius had screamed curses at the Ministry, raving about a rat, but no one listened. He wasted away, his handsome features gaunt, eyes hollow from the Dementors' drain. Then, one stormy night, he transformed, slipping through bars as a shaggy black dog, swimming the icy waters to freedom. The Ministry panicked. Black was coming for Harry Potter, they said, the boy who survived Voldemort, to finish what his master started. Harry boarded the Hogwarts Express under heavy guard, his trunk packed with uneasy anticipation for his third year. The train rattled northward, through rain-lashed windows. When the lights flickered, a foul cold seeped in, thicker than winter frost, sucking joy from the air. Passages from happy memories blurred. Laughter died. Harry heard it then, a woman's scream, high and piercing, echoing his mother's dying plea from that cribside night. He crumpled, visions of green light overwhelming him. In the compartment, a new face appeared. Professor Remus Lupin, shabby robes cloaking a scarred face, his eyes kind but weary. He drove off the Dementor with a silvery burst from his wand. A patronus, the Ministry announced later, though few could cast one against those fiends. To guard Hogwarts from the fugitive, the Ministry stationed 100 Dementors around the grounds, their rattling breaths haunting Quidditch pitches and lake shores. Cornelius Fudge himself decreed it, claiming utmost security, but dread hung over the castle like perpetual dusk. Harry fainted again during his first match against Hufflepuff, plummeting from his broom as the screams returned, saved only by Draco Malfoy's unlikely alertness. Lupin taught him then, in a quiet office lined with dusty books and flickering candlelight. Eat chocolate, the professor said, its warmth pushing back the cold. Dementors force us to relive our worst fears, but a Patronus, expecto patronum, calls guardian light from joy. Harry practiced, stag antlers flickering at first, then stronger, fueled by thoughts of his parents' laughter, not their deaths. As classes unfolded in the castle's torchlit halls, new mysteries deepened. Lupin, defense against the dark arts master, faced a wardrobe in a classroom thick with musty air. Out sprang a boggart, shifting from fears, a bloodied corpse for Neville, a clown for Parvati, and for Harry, the hooded Dementor, its scabbed hands reaching. Ridiculous turned it to a bumbling figure in granny clothes, but the laughter couldn't fully dispel the shadow. Whispers followed Harry. Black's godfather, they said, obsessed with his death. The fat lady's portrait fled her frame, after Black slashed it with a knife, her screams echoing through Gryffindor Tower as students slept in the Great Hall under Dumbledore's watch. Winter gripped Hogwarts, snow blanketing the whomping willows' thrashing branches. Harry uncovered a treasure in Filch's confiscated pile. The Marauder's map, a weathered parchment unfolding to reveal every secret passage, labelled by 4 creators, Messrs. Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs. Harry's heart stuttered. It was his father's nickname, etched in elegant script. The map's ink flowed like living memory, mocking passwords and tracking footsteps through hidden tunnels. Lupin's lessons peeled back more layers. Over tea in his fire-warmed office, he spoke of friendship's fierce loyalty. James Potter, Sirius Black, Peter Pettigrew. They had been inseparable, animagi by 5th year to ease his monthly torment. Remus Lupin was a werewolf, bitten at age 5, transforming under full moons into a beast the shrieking shack contained. His friends became stag, dog, rat to run with him, mapping the grounds under moonlight. Harry's image of his father shifted. Not the flawless hero of stories, but a bold prankster, arrogant at times, bullying Severus Snape by the lake until Sirius's near-fatal prank with a shouting wolf form left scars. Yet their bond saved lives even as it unravelled. The truth crashed on a night of thunder. Harry, Ron and Hermione pursued the rat scabbers into the Willow's tunnel. Emerging in the shack's dust-choked ruin, Lupin followed, then Sirius as a dog, transforming to plead innocence. Peter Pettigrew lived, cowering as a rat on Ron's shoulder. The map lied not. Wormtail betrayed the Potters, begged Voldemort for mercy, faked his death with a blasting curse, and hid as a pet for 12 years. Sirius had volunteered as secret keeper to throw off suspicion, but Peter was the spy. Proof gleamed in the moonlit room. The same map, the same 4 friends now fractured. Dementors swarmed as they dragged Peter to the castle, hope fading under their kiss-hungry cloaks. Harry conjured his first full patronus, a radiant stag galloping through the gloom, driving them back. Time turned with Hermione's stolen turners. Buckbeak the Hippogriff carried Sirius away into the starry night, a free man at last. But dangers lingered in the castle's shadows, pulling Harry toward a tournament none could foresee. Next time, in Chapter 22, The Goblet's Trap, a name emerges from flames, binding him to deadly games where betrayal waits in every challenge. As the echoes of Sirius Black's innocence faded into whispers across the wizarding world, and the Dementors slunk away from Hogwarts under Dumbledore's watchful gaze, Harry Potter returned to the Dursleys for another stifling summer. His mind still haunted by the cold grip of fear, but the shadows were lengthening far beyond Privet Drive. The Daily Prophet buzzed with excitement over the Quidditch World Cup, drawing witches and wizards from every corner of the globe to a massive stadium in Dartmoor, where Ireland clashed with Bulgaria in a match that pulsed with roaring crowds. Emerald shamrocks raining from the sky, and Victor Crumb's blazing dive for the golden snitch. Yet joy shattered under a skull with serpentine eyes. The dark mark, igniting green flames above the campsite, sending panicked families fleeing through apparitions and portkeys. Auras swarmed, but no Death Eaters were caught, only a house elf named Winky implicated in the chaos. Whispers of Voldemort's return stirred like fog over the North Sea, but the Ministry dismissed them as youthful pranks. Harry, overhearing these murmurs at the Burrow, felt the weight of eyes upon him once more. Back at Hogwarts for his 4th year, the castle thrummed with an unusual energy. Dumbledore gathered the students in the Great Hall, the enchanted ceiling swirling with stormy clouds, and unveiled a spectacle long dormant, the revival of the Triwizard Tournament. This legendary contest, born in the late 13th century, had once pitted the bravest from Hogwarts, Bobbuttons, and Durmstrang against dragons, merpeople, and labyrinthine mazes, forging glory amid peril. Suspended for centuries after a champion's death in 1894, it was now reborn under strict new rules. An age line of magic to bar the under 20-somethings, and an impartial judge, the Goblet of Fire. Picture the blue-white flames flickering eternally in the goblet's carved wooden cup. Placed in the entrance hall like a sentinel from ancient rites, delegations arrived in splendour. Madame Maxime's Bosberton's girls gliding in like Fila on a crystal coach drawn by Abraxan horses, their silk robes whispering against stone floors, heavy with perfumes of lavender and frost. Durmstrang's fur-clad boys, led by the stoic Igor Karkaroff and star-seeker Victor Crumb, burst from a ship rising from the Black Lake, their breaths steaming in the chill air. Names fluttered into the goblet's maw on scraps of parchment, vanishing in bursts of sparks. On Halloween night, the selections ignited anticipation. Fleur Delacour emerged first, her silvery hair catching firelight as cheers erupted from the blue-clad Buxbertons. Victor Crumb followed, his broad shoulders drawing gasps from the girls. Cedric Diggory, tall and handsome Hufflepuff captain, grinned modestly for Hogwarts, then silence, until a 4th name scorched forth, Harry Potter. The hall froze. Underage, unwilling, Harry was thrust into the tournament's deadly embrace. the goblet's flames dying to embers as if exhausted by deceit. Suspicion coiled like smoke. How had his name passed the age line? Whispers accused him of craving fame, of cheating for glory, but darker forces had woven the trap. Bartemius Crouch Jr., long thought dead in Azkaban, had escaped his mother's sacrifice and lurked in disguise. Polyjuiced as Alastor Mad-Eye Moody, the grizzled Auror with a swirling magical eye and a staff thudding like a heartbeat, he had ensnared a real Moody, confined him in a trunk's depths, and slipped Harry's name into the goblet under Durmstrang's banner, binding it irrevocably by ancient magic. The tasks tested flesh and soul. First, dragons. Hungarian Horntail's bronze scales glinting, chains rattling as Harry summoned his firebolt broom from the golden egg's clutch, dodging fiery blasts amid the rocky arena's roar. Underwater rescue followed, in the Black Lake's inky depths, where merpeople's spears gleamed and Grindelows tugged at robes. Harry breathing gillyweed's slimy tendrils to save Ron amid swaying kelp forests. Friendships strained, romances bloomed, Cedric and Cho Chang's stolen glances, Hermione sparks with Crumb, yet peril mounted. The third task loomed, a vast maze of towering hedges, alive with rustling threats. Blast-ended Scroots scuttling, sphinxes riddling, Acromantulus lurking in shadows. On that fateful June evening, under a sky bruised purple, champions plunged in. Cedric reached the cup first, Harry beside him in a pact of honour. They touched it together, a portkey ripping them through space to a desolate graveyard in Little Hangleton. Headstones crooked like broken teeth, night air thick with graveyard soil and distant owl hoots. Wormtail, that snivelling rat Peter Pettigrew, emerged from the shadows. Cedric stunned and murdered on the spot by the killing curse's green flash, his body crumpling lifeless amid the dew-slick grass. Harry, bound to a tombstone marked Tom Riddle, watched in horror as the ritualistic rebirth of Lord Voldemort unfolded. A cauldron bubbled with bone of the father, taken unwilling from Riddle's grave, flesh of the servant, Wormtail severing his own hand in a spray of blood, and blood of the foe, drawn fresh from Harry's arm. From the potion rose the Dark Lord, pale as bone, eyes red slits, skin stretched taut over new bones. Voldemort reborn, his high cold laugh slicing the night. Death Eaters apparated at his summons, their dark marks burning, grovelling before their master. A duel erupted, Harry's Priori Incantatem linking wands, golden echoes of Cedric's ghost, Bertha Jorkins, Frank Bryce pleading for justice. Harry seized the portkey, Cedric's corpse in tow, tumbling back to the Quidditch pitch amid screams. The murder of Cedric Diggory and the ritualistic rebirth of Lord Voldemort shattered the tournament's facade. Voldemort striding once more. Dumbledore believed Harry instantly, his blue eyes piercing the truth, but Cornelius Fudge, Minister of Magic, recoiled in denial. At the Ministry, he clutched evidence of Crouch Jr.'s imposture, yet twisted it, Harry delirious, Dumbledore senile. Crouch Sr. vanished into the forest's grip. The Daily Prophet vilified the boy who lived, Rita Skeeter's quill poisoning public trust, branding him a liar, an attention seeker. The Ministry's refusal to accept the truth fractured the wizarding world. Pure-blood elites rallying to Fudge's blindness, while fear ripened into division. Voldemort's forces gathered in secret, old prejudices flaring, Muggle-borns targeted in shadows. Hogwarts stood as a beacon under siege, Dumbledore preparing for war's inevitable drumbeat, and as alliances reformed in hidden rooms thick with pipe smoke and whispered oaths. You'll want to stay tuned for Chapter 23. The Order Reconstituted, where the Phoenix rises to confront the Serpent's shadow. Cedric Diggory lay dead in the graveyard, his lifeless body a stark testament to the horror that had just unfolded, while Harry Potter clutched the portkey and vanished back to Hogwarts, carrying the unimaginable truth. Lord Voldemort had returned, his body reformed through dark ritual, flesh knitting together from bone, blood, and the stolen essence of his servant. But in the wizarding world beyond those castle walls, denial gripped the Ministry like a vice, with Minister Cornelius Fudge refusing to accept the boy's frantic warnings. dismissing them as delusions born of trauma or worse, a ploy for attention. Harry arrived in the hospital wing, battered and broken, only to face skepticism from all sides. Dumbledore tried to rally the evidence, but Fudge, trembling with fear and political self-preservation, ordered his Aurors to silence the headmaster and cart Harry away under guard. The Ministry's grip tightened, spinning a web of lies that would ensnare the entire community. Whispers of conspiracy filled the air, thick as the summer fog rolling over the Black Lake as the official story took hold. No Dark Lord, no resurrection, just a tragic tournament accident amplified by Potter's fame-hungry imagination. And then the Daily Prophet unleashed its full fury in the smear campaign against Harry and Dumbledore, headlines screaming across front pages for months. Potter a paranoid, delusional, blared one, while another branded Dumbledore, senile old fool clings to power. Rita Skeeter's poison pen dripped with venom, portraying Harry as an attention-seeking liar, unstable from his orphanhood, and Dumbledore as a power-mad relic plotting against the government. Every edition painted them as threats to wizarding stability, eroding trust drop by drop. Families at breakfast tables in cosy cottages and bustling inns debated the articles over tea, neighbours turning on neighbours, old allies questioning loyalties. Harry's ice lane deepened. Friends like Ron and Hermione stood firm, but the wider world vilified him, his scar throbbing under the weight of public scorn. In the shadows, Dumbledore knew the truth demanded action. He quietly reconstituted the Order of the Phoenix, that secret society he'd formed 2 decades earlier to combat Voldemort's first rise. Grimmauld Place, number 12, the ancient Black family home shrouded in Fidelius charm, became their grim headquarters once more. Sirius Black, Harry's godfather, hosted from his ancestral prison of peeling wallpaper and lurking doxies, while Remus Lupin coordinated reconnaissance, his werewolf scars a badge of past battles. Nymphadora Tonks brought her metamorph magus flair to disguises. Molly Weasley cooked feasts laced with worry, and Kingsley Shacklebolt fed intel from the Ministry's heart. Mad-Eye Moody's magical eye whirred constantly, scanning for spies. As the group planned in hushed tones by firelight, Phoenix song from Fawkes echoing faintly in the background. But Voldemort's shadow crept closer to Hogwarts itself. With Fudge's blessing, the Ministry infiltrated the school through Dolores Umbridge, a squat, toad-like woman in pink cardigans and a saccharine smile that hid bureaucratic cruelty. Appointed High Inquisitor and then Headmistress, she embodied the Ministry's overreach, her educational decrees plastered on every wall like shackles. Decree 22 banned all clubs not approved by the High Inquisitor. Decree 24 outlawed gatherings of 3 or more students. Decree 23 sacked professors like Trelawney in theatrical humiliation. Hem hem, she'd clear her throat, Quill scratching detention slips where lines of blood formed under her enchanted feather. Lessons twisted into rote Ministry propaganda. No one's in her defense class, just theory on defensive strategies that left students defenseless. Filch prowled with renewed glee, the inquisitorial squad of Slytherins, enforcing her reign with sneers and hexes. The castle's warmth chilled. Staircases halted under her command, portraits grumbled in corners, and the air hummed with suppressed rage. Harry, vindicated only in his closest circle, rallied his peers in secret. Dumbledore's army formed in the Room of Requirement, a vast training ground conjured with cushions, books, and practice dummies. Hermione's fake galleons buzzed with meeting alerts, their serial numbers encoding dates. Neville's growth from clumsy boy to steadfast fighter shone through drills. Luna's quirky wisdom disarmed doubts. Ginny's bat-bogey hex packed lethal promise. They mastered patronuses under Harry's lead, silvery guardians bursting forth to banish imagined dementors. Laughter and spells, filling the hidden chamber as bonds forged stronger than iron. Voldemort's patience frayed. He lured Harry with visions of Sirius tortured in the Department of Mysteries, a trap baited with desperation. That night, under a starry sky heavy with foreboding, Harry led the D charge through the vanishing cabinet's echo. Neville, Luna, Ginny, Ron, and Hermione tumbling into the Ministry's eerie halls. Prophecies glowed on shelves in the circular room. The Veil whispering from the Death Chamber. Death Eaters ambushed. Lucius Malfoy sneering at the children. Bellatrix Lestrange's mad cackle echoing as curses flew. The battle at the Department of Mysteries erupted in chaos. Glass shattering. Prophecies exploding in shards of foretold futures. Fountains of light and shadow clashing. Harry seized the prophecy orb, its voice murmuring the words that had haunted Voldemort since 1980. The Chosen One, born at the 7th month's end. Order members apparated in. Sirius dueling with reckless joy. Lupin shielding the young. Tonks grappling her Aunt Bellatrix. Spells ricocheted off black tiles. The time chamber's hourglasses spilling sand that aged and withered. Sirius fell through the veil, his laughter cut short, a void ripping through Harry's soul. Dumbledore arrived like a storm, shattering statues into golems that crushed foes, his wand a blur of phoenix fire. Fudge burst in at dawn, witnessing Voldemort himself. Pale as death, red eyes slitted, dueling the headmaster in a cataclysm of green and silver light. The public return of the Dark Lord could no longer be denied. Fudge's face drained of colour as the snake-faced horror disapparated, leaving the minister stammering into the light. The wizarding world reeled, truth shattering the illusions, but deeper secrets stirred in the shadows of memory and blood, pulling Harry toward revelations that would redefine everything. Next, in Chapter 24, The Half-Blood Prince, you'll uncover the hidden past of a prodigy whose potions and spite could unravel the war itself. What twisted legacy waits in those forgotten pages, as Dolores Umbridge's reign of terror at Hogwarts finally crumbles under the weight of her own cruelty. The Ministry's meddling retreats, leaving behind a school scarred but resilient. Whispers of you now, whose return grow louder, no longer dismissed as boys' delusions. And Harry Potter steps into his 6th year, carrying the weight of a prophecy that marks him as the Chosen One. Dumbledore wastes no time. He pulls Harry aside into the hushed sanctity of his office. The air thick with the scent of lemon drops and ancient parchment, for private lessons that peel back the layers of Voldemort's darkness. These aren't mere history recitals. They're revelations drawn from silvery threads of memory, pulled from a pensieve that swirls like liquid moonlight. You can almost feel the chill as Harry leans over the basin, plunging into moments stolen from lives long entangled with the Dark Lord. Their first lesson transports you to a grim Muggle orphanage in the 1920s, where a young Tom Riddle sits unnaturally still amid rowdy children, his eyes sharp as obsidian blades. Dumbledore recounts how he first met the boy, 11 years old, already weaving subtle cruelties, locking peers in caves, charming objects to harm. Riddle's questions about his parents betray a hunger for power, master's curiosity, his Muggle surname, a clue to the fractured heritage waiting to be unearthed. Harry watches, transfixed, as the pieces begin to form a portrait of a monster, born not in fire, but in calculated isolation. Lesson by lesson, the memories deepen, revealing Voldemort's obsession with immortality. Dumbledore explains Horcruxes, those vile fragments of soul deliberately splintered through murder and bound to objects, granting a wizard unnatural endurance. He speaks softly, his half-moon spectacles glinting, of how Voldemort surpassed even the darkest rituals, creating not one, but multiple such anchors to cheat death itself. Harry's mind races with the implications. Voldemort isn't just alive, he's shattered across hidden relics, each a puzzle piece in the war ahead. The trail leads to the Gaunt family history, a squalid lineage of pure-blood fanatics, clinging to faded glory in a crumbling shack on the edge of Little Hangleton. Morphing Gaunt, wild-eyed and serpentine, hisses Parseltongue curses from behind Ministry bars, recounting how his sister Merup ensnared a handsome Muggle named Tom Riddle with a love potion brewed from her own desperation. Marvolo, their father, rots in Azkaban for Muggle baiting, his heirloom, a gnarled gold ring etched with the Peveril coat of arms. passed down as a symbol of Slytherin's descent. Merope, abandoned and dying, births a son she names Tom Marvolo Riddle before surrendering to her broken heart, leaving the infant on that orphanage doorstep. Dumbledore's own memory seals the horror. He confronts the teenage Riddle at Hogwarts, now flaunting the gaunt ring on his pale finger, demanding it for study. Riddle's denial is a lie wrapped in arrogance, but Dumbledore senses the ring's peril. Years later, he retrieves it from the gaunt hovel, blackened fingers a testament to the curse Voldemort wove into it as his first Horcrux. Slain by his own hand after murdering his father and grandparents to split his soul, Harry stares at the withered arm, the magnitude sinking in. This is no myth, it's the key to Voldemort's unravelling. These sessions forge Harry closer to his headmaster, a bond of trust amid flickering candlelight and shared secrets, yet the world outside presses in. Severus Snape teaches defence against the dark arts, his sallow face tighter with unspoken burdens, while Horace Slughorn returns to potions, his walrus moustache hiding a past intertwined with young Tom Riddle. Harry uncovers an old textbook scrawled with brilliant annotations. The Half-Blood Prince, a mysterious figure whose spells outshine even Snape's inventions. Tensions simmer through Quidditch triumphs and Slughorn's lavish suppers, but dread coils tighter. Harry fixates on Draco Malfoy, pale and furtive, vanishing into the vanishing cabinet, his eyes hollow with a task too monstrous for a boy. Dumbledore weakens daily, his hand ravaged by that cursed ring. Yet he presses Harry to retrieve another memory from Slughorn, confirming Voldemort's Horcrux ambitions. 6 or 7, perhaps, with Harry glimpsing his own scar as a 7th. One fateful night as thunder rumbles over the castle, Dumbledore and Harry apparate to a jagged seaside cave, the air reeking of brine and decay. An invisible boat ferries them across an ink-black lake, inferi lurking beneath like drowned nightmares. They scale ledges slick with peril, Dumbledore's weakened frame leaning on Harry, until they reach a basin of potion, the drink of despair. He forces Harry to make him drink it, each agonized gulp tearing screams from the greatest wizard alive, visions of his past torments flooding back. At the bottom, a locket gleams, heavy with dark magic, another Horcrux secured, though its true nature will haunt them later. Weakened beyond measure, they return to the astronomy tower under cover of night, the wind howling like banshees. Draco Malfoy awaits, one trembling, his mission from Voldemort clear: murder Dumbledore. The headmaster, disarmed and frail, pleads with the boy, offering protection, seeing the flicker of doubt. But feet pound on the stairs, Death Eaters breach the castle. Draco hesitates, frozen in torment. Then Severus Snape arrives, his black robes billowing. Dumbledore's eyes lock onto his, a silent understanding passing in that charged instant. Severus, please. The green flash of Avada Kedavra erupts from Snape's wand. And Albus Dumbledore tumbles silently from the tower, his body crumpling on the grass below like a fallen star extinguished. Hagrid's wails echo through the grounds as Harry pursues, the Order battling Fenrir Greyback and the invading Horde. Snape reveals himself as the Half-Blood Prince, fleeing into the night with Draco in tow, his true allegiance a dagger in the heart of Hogwarts. The shocking death of Albus Dumbledore at the hands of Severus Snape shatters the wizarding world, leaving Harry adrift in grief, vowing to destroy the Horcruxes alone, the war's tide turning irreversibly dark. You might wonder what chaos erupts next as the Ministry buckles under Voldemort's shadow. In Chapter 25, the fall of the Ministry, the wizarding government crumbles from within, secrets unravel, and Harry's path to vengeance ignites. Drift off now, and we'll uncover it all tomorrow night. If you've been here several nights running, drop that number in the comments, or just an N for your first time. Sweet dreams. As the truths of Voldemort's Horcruxes sank in during those intense private lessons with Dumbledore, and the cursed ring from the gaunt family shackle lay retrieved at such a terrible cost. The fragile piece holding the wizarding world together shattered on the very night of Dumbledore's death. The astronomy tower at Hogwarts, became the stage for betrayal and murder, with Severus Snape delivering the killing blow to the greatest wizard of the age. Fulfilling Draco Malfoy's coerced mission, while Death Eaters poured into the school like shadows given form. Fenrir Greyback's savage snarls echoed through the corridors, and screams from terrified students pierced the night as the Dark Lord's forces retreated, leaving chaos in their wake. But this was no isolated strike. It was the prelude to something far more devastating. Word of Dumbledore's fall spread like fiendfire through the Daily Prophet. Screaming denial, even as fear, gripped every corner of Wizarding Britain. Rufus Scrimgeour, the gruff Auror-turned minister, clung to power with desperate speeches about unity and vigilance. But Voldemort's web had already ensnared the ministry's heart. Unbeknownst to most, Pius Thicknesse, the head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, had long been under the imperious curse, his will bent to the Dark Lord's design. Thicknesse's puppet strings pulled tighter with each passing hour, positioning him as the innocuous bridge to total domination. Then, in a single blood-soaked night, just weeks later, the axe fell. Scrimgeour met his end in the ministry atrium, struck down by Death Eaters, who materialized from the green flames of flow hearths and the swirl of apparition. Yaxley, the brutal enforcer from the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, wrestled control of the security office from the imperious Thicknesse, ensuring no alarms could sound. By dawn, the total takeover of the wizarding government by Death Eaters was complete. Thicknesse was installed as the new Minister for Magic, his vacant eyes staring out from Prophet front pages as if nothing had changed, while Voldemort's inner circle, Bellatrix Lestrange, Lucius Malfoy reduced to a shadow of his former arrogance, and others slithered into key positions, their black robes blending into the bureaucratic gloom. The atrium, once bustling with hurried witches and wizards clutching parchments and potion vials, transformed overnight into a fortress of dread. Snatchers patrolled the golden fountains now, stained with the echoes of violence, their eyes hungry for bounties on fugitives. Propaganda flooded the airwaves via the wizarding wireless network, twisting the truth. Dumbledore painted as a reckless fool, Harry Potter as an unstable liar leading children to doom. Muggle-borns were branded as thieves of magic, their very existence a crime against nature. And with the stroke of a quill, the implementation of the Muggle-born Registration Commission and blood purities laws turned the ministry into an instrument of terror. Headed by Dolores Umbridge, that simpering toad with her pink cards and saccharine malice, the commission summoned Muggle-borns one by one to atrium hearings. Picture the scene. A witch like Mary Catamol, trembling in her seat, her husband and children held hostage by dementors in the background. Umbridge's quill scratched accusations of stealing wands and magic from pure-blood families, forcing confessions under Veritaserum or worse. Wands snapped like brittle bones, families torn apart, Azkaban's chill cells swelling with the innocent. Blood purity laws decreed that only those with wizarding ancestry could hold jobs, attend Hogwarts beyond a probationary year, or even marry without scrutiny. Half-bloods like Snape's long-lost mother would have been next, their diluted lines dissected by genealogical curses. The streets of Diagon Alley, emptied as shops shuttered under pure-blood patronage mandates, and the leaky cauldron's regulars whispered in corners, their tankards untouched. You could feel the chill seeping through the walls of hidden homes, the constant dread of a knock from the Flu Network Authority, demanding proof of blood status. Werewolf registration tightened, giants shunned further into mountains, house elves cowering deeper in kitchens. The ministry's magic twisted to enforce it all, enchanted posters of Harry peeling from walls with sneers, the prophet's ink running like blood to smear dissenters. Voldemort ruled without a crown, his presence a suffocating fog over London, while his followers revelled in the power they'd craved since their school days. Amid this descending darkness, Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger faced a crossroads sharper than any spell. Dumbledore's death left them not just orphaned of guidance, but hunted. Harry named the Chosen One in every wanted poster, his face mocking him from every lamppost. The wedding at the Burrow, Bill and Fleur's joyous union, exploded into nightmare when Death Eaters crashed the celebration under the guise of ministry officials, their masks slipping to reveal the chaos of the new regime. Hermione's swift apparition saved them, yanking Harry and Ron into a wild escape through fields slick with dew, the patronus stag of Kingsley Shacklebolt buying precious seconds. They tumbled into a new reality, fugitives cut off from allies with no safe haven left. Hogwarts sealed under Snape's headmastership, the Order scattered, Grimmauld Place compromised. In a quiet field under starlight, tents unpacked from Hermione's beaded bag became their world. A canvas prison of damp grass and flickering deluminator light. Their mission, whispered in Dumbledore's final moments, crystallized. Hunt the remaining Horcruxes, sabotage the regime from the shadows. No more schoolboy adventures. This was guerrilla warfare against an empire. They'd infiltrate ministry archives for leads, disrupt supply lines to werewolves, steal from Gringotts vaults if fate demanded. Ron's frustration simmered like a cauldron on the boil. Hermione's books piled like barricades, Harry's scar burning with every vision of Voldemort's throne. Nights blurred into days of invisibility cloaks, fraying at edges, polyjuice potions tasting fouler than ever, and the gnawing hunger of isolation. They struck small blows. A ministry owl intercepted, a pure-blood rally hexed with confusion charms. But the Horcruxes loomed largest, fragments of soul mocking their every step. The locket's malice would soon test their bonds, whispering doubts into ears, chilled by wind-swept moors. Yet in that fragile trio burned the spark of resistance, unseen hands turning the tide before the world even knew. What ancient legend did that locket evoke? A tale woven into the fabric of wizarding folklore that would redefine their quest entirely. You'll discover it in Chapter 26. The tale of the three brothers, where secrets of death itself unravel in ways you never expected, with the ministry fully in the clutches of the Death Eaters, and the Muggle-born Registration Commission, rounding up innocents under the banner of blood purity. Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Granger became ghosts in their own world, slipping through forests and abandoned homes. Their tent, their only shelter against a wizarding Britain turned hostile. Their hunt for Voldemort's Horcruxes had grown desperate. After destroying the locket in a frozen pond, the sword of Gryffindor now in their possession, pulled from icy depths by a selfless act that nearly cost Harry his life. But whispers of greater power began to surface. Artifacts said to conquer death, pulling them toward a legend older than Hogwarts itself. It started with a battered copy of the Tales of Beedle the Bard, gifted to Hermione from Dumbledore's will, its runes hinting at symbols scratched into a grave in Godric's Hollow. Harry had seen it there, the triangular sign that haunted his scar visions. Then, at the home of Luna Lovegood's father, Xenophilius, they heard the story told in full, his voice trembling under the weight of his own fears. The tale of the three brothers unfolds on a treacherous river path at twilight, where death itself waited disguised as a hooded figure. The eldest brother, bold and brash, demanded the most powerful wand to defeat any foe. Death fashioned it from an elder tree, the elder wand unbeatable in duel. The second brother craved reunion with the dead, so Death crafted a stone from the riverbed, the resurrection stone, to summon shades from beyond. The youngest, wisest, asked only for a way to leave without harm. Death handed over his own invisibility cloak, seamless and eternal. The first brother wielded the wand's power, boasting until a rival slew him in sleep, claiming the prize. The second reunited with his lost love through the stone, but her shade was a cold echo, driving him to despair and suicide. Only the third brother lived long, cloaked from sight, before laying the relic at Death's feet and departing peacefully on his own terms. This was no mere bedtime story, but the origin of the Deathly Hallows, three objects that together make the bearer master of death. The search for the Deathly Hallows and the temptation of ultimate power gripped the trio like fiend fire. Harry, already cloaked by his father's invisibility cloak, realised it was the third Hallow, the sword they held. No, but Dumbledore's will had left him the Deluminator, and later Gryffindor's sword seemed drawn to him, and the stone, hidden in the snitch, clutched in Dumbledore's dying hand, whispering, "I open at the close." Ron saw greed in the quest. The Elder Wand's bloody history from Grindelwald to Dumbledore fueling paranoia. Hermione clung to reason, insisting Horcruxes demanded focus. But the symbols everywhere, on Dumbledore's hand, in the Peveril coat of arms, whispered of destiny. Voldemort himself sought the wand, ignorant of the stone and cloak. Twisting graves in Little Hangleton were clues he could never grasp. In the dim tent, arguments flared like wand sparks. Harry dreamed of wielding all three, turning Voldemort's curse back forever. The power sang to him, immortality without splitting the soul. A clean conquest, where Horcruxes offered only fragmented horror. Then came the realization that the Hallows and Horcruxes represent two different paths to immortality. One through mastery of death, the other by evading it through murder and anchors in objects, lives stolen to prolong the thief. Voldemort chose the Dark Fracture, 7 pieces of soul hidden in diary, ring, locket, cup, diadem, nagini, and Harry himself unknowingly. The Hallows promised unity, transcendence, the Elder Wand's allegiance won by skill, not kill, the stone's bittersweet call, the cloak's humble veil. Dumbledore had sought them young with Grindelwald, tempted by Muggle subjugation, but rejected the path after Ariana's death, passing clues to Harry as a test of worth. Their pursuit shattered when Snatchers ambushed them in a forest skirmish. Harry's face altered by Hermione's jinxes, but his voice betraying him. Dragged to Malfoy Manor, chains bit into wrists as they faced Lucius's sneer, Narcissa's pallor, Draco's wavering wand. Bellatrix's scream echoed when she spotted Gryffindor's sword, her knife-carving questions into Hermione's arm. Mudblood letters amid blood and screams, while Dobby apparated in with the Silver Trio's help. Luna, Ollivander, Griffoot, chaos erupted, wands reclaimed, Malfoy's table shattered by spells. Dobby's knife pierced his own chest, saving Harry, whispering freedom on Shell Cottage sands, his grave marked by sock and stone. Grief fueled their next impossible strike, Gringotts. Polyjuice disguised as Bellatrix, Hermione's perfect mimicry, they infiltrated the goblin vaults. The cup Horcrux gleaming amid treasures under duplication curses and Thief's downfall waterfalls that stripped illusions. Multiplication spells turned coins to fire, guardians swarming. But Griffoot's betrayal loomed as they unleashed the ancient dragon chained below, its scales scorched, flames licking marble halls. Clinging to its back, they soared into Diagon Alley skies, wind whipping robes, dragonfire scorching pursuers, crashing into the lake at Hogwarts' edge, bruised, Horcrux in hand. The trio now knew the diadem waited in the room of requirement, the Elder Wand's trail leading back to the castle. But Voldemort's forces closed in, their final confrontation brewing within those ancient walls. What fury unleashes when every defender stands against the Dark Lord in the Battle of Hogwarts, while Voldemort clung desperately to his fractured path of Horcruxes, chasing immortality through murder and malice. Harry had glimpsed the true cost of such power, turning instead toward the fragile hope of the Hallows, only to set them aside for what truly mattered. That fragile hope now drew every soul who could fight to the ancient stones of Hogwarts, where the final battle unfolded in a storm of spells and screams that would scar the wizarding world forever. Dawn broke over the castle on May 2nd, 1998, but no light pierced the gathering darkness. Harry, Ron, and Hermione burst through the grounds after their desperate flight from Gringotts, the dragon's roar still echoing in their ears. Word had spread like fiend fire. Voldemort was coming, his forces massing beyond the boundaries, and Hogwarts stood as the last bastion. Professors McGonagall, Flitwick and Sprout rallied the students, their voices cutting through the chaos in the Great Hall, where house tables groaned under platters of food that no one could stomach. Shields went up around the school, shimmering barriers of raw magic humming against the assault, already probing from afar. Snape's regime had crumbled the moment Harry revealed himself alive, and now the Order of the Phoenix flooded in. Lupin with his werewolf grit, Kingsley Shacklebolt's booming commands, even the centaurs thundering from the forest's edge. Students as young as first years clutched wands. They'd barely learned to flick, their faces pale but set, eyes wide with the terror of what lay ahead. The air thickened with the crackle of apparition, the whoosh of broomsticks launching into the sky. And then the first boom shook the towers as giants hurled boulders, the size of carriages against the walls. The battle erupted in earnest when Voldemort unleashed his horde, Death Eaters, in black cloaks, swirling like shadows. Werewolves snarling under the blood moon's glow. Acromantula scuttling from the forbidden forest in waves that blotted out the stars. Spells lit the night in greens and reds, curses slicing through the air with whispers of death. The final stand at the school became a maelstrom of bravery and brutality, corridors crumbling under rogue blasts, the courtyard a graveyard of shattered statues and fallen fighters. Fred Weasley laughed his last, amid the rubble of a hallway explosion, his twin's wail piercing the din like a knife. Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks lay side by side in the Great Hall, their newborn son orphaned before he could know them, while young Colin Creevey, so eager with his camera in happier days, crumpled clutching his wand like a toy sword. The heavy toll pressed down on the students. Most of all, those bright sparks of the future caught in the grinder of war. Lavender Brown, giggling lavender from fourth-year dances, mauled beyond saving by Fenrir Greyback, a Ravenclaw girl no older than 15 blasted apart by a stray killing curse. Hufflepuffs dragged stones to barricade doors, their hands bleeding, only to face Dolohov slashing hexes. Gryffindors charged forward with battle cries, but the screams of the wounded echoed through the halls, mingling with the stench of smoke and scorched stone. McGonagall duelled side by side with Peeves, the poltergeist hurling chamber pots like grenades, while Slughorn roared Slugulus Eructo to fell a pack of snatchers. Every room, every stair, every hidden nook became a battlefield, the castle's very magic groaning under the weight of so much spilled blood. Amid this fury, Harry pieced together the final truth from the fragments Dumbledore had left behind. In the eye of the storm, after viewing Snape's dying memories in the Pensieve, the weight settled on him like the chill of the shrieking shack. Voldemort's soul, shattered so many times, had latched onto Harry that night in Godric's Hollow. Not by design but by accident, a splinter embedding itself in the boy who survived. Harry was the last Horcrux, the unintended anchor, keeping the Dark Lord tethered to life. No potion, no ritual, just a fluke of savage magic from that rebounding curse on October 31st, 1981. Knowing this, Harry made his choice. He slipped away from the fray, the sounds of battle fading behind him. As he walked alone into the forbidden forest, the trees loomed like silent judges, branches whispering secrets to the wind, moonlight filtering through leaves to dapple the path in silver. Hagrid's heartbroken sobs followed him, carrying his limp form back later, but in that moment, Harry stepped forward unarmed, his wand tucked away, heart pounding against the inevitability. Voldemort waited in a clearing, pale and triumphant, surrounded by his inner circle, Bellatrix's manic grin, Lucius Malfoy's hollow eyes. The words were spoken, the ultimatum given, and then the green flash of Avada Kedavra struck true. Death came not as void, but as a gentle station platform at King's Cross, ethereal and luminous, the air humming with otherworldly calm. There sat Albus Dumbledore, restored in spectral form, his half-moon spectacles glinting, a warm smile creasing his face. They spoke of sacrifice, of love's deeper magic that Voldemort could never grasp, of the Elder Wand's true allegiance now Harry's by fate's twist. Harry chose to return, not to linger in limbo, drinking in the wisdom one last time before stepping back into the roar of life and war. That ultimate sacrifice rippled through the battle like a patronus charm, bolstering the defenders as Harry's death spread. but whispers of his return stirred already, hinting at the mastery that awaited. In the next chapter, The Master of Death, you'll discover how Harry claimed a power beyond Horcruxes or Hallows, turning Voldemort's own weapons against him in a climax that redefined immortality itself. What secrets did the Elder Wand hold, and how did Harry wield them to end it all? Harry Potter stepped out of the Forbidden Forest, the weight of his sacrifice lifting like mist under dawn light, his body whole again, marked not by death but by mastery over it. Voldemort waited in the shattered heart of Hogwarts, the Great Hall, a ruin of splintered tables and bloodied banners, surrounded by his shattered army. Death Eaters cowering, giants slumped, the air thick with smoke, and the metallic tang of spells gone wild. This was no mere clash of wands. It was the collision of two quests for immortality, one born of fractured soul and stolen power, the other forged in acceptance of mortality's gift. You can almost feel the hush falling over the hall, the ragged breaths of survivors. Ron, Hermione, Neville, Luna, gripping their wands amid the debris. Voldemort's lipless mouth twisted in rage, his red eyes narrowing at the boy who should have been dust. He raised the Elder Wand, that ancient conqueror of kings, pilfered from Dumbledore's tomb, believing it his by right of murder. But Harry stood firm, his own holy wand steady, the resurrection stone tucked away, the invisibility cloak draped invisibly over his shoulders. He was the true master, the one who united the Deathly Hallows, not through domination, but through choice. Their wands locked in a furious priori incantatum, golden light erupting like a phoenix reborn, pulling ghosts from the ether, James, Lily, Sirius, Lupin, whispering courage into the fray. Voldemort screamed incantations, Avada Kedavra exploding from his lips, but Harry countered with words more potent than curses. He revealed the truth. The Elder Wand's allegiance had shifted to him when Draco disarmed Dumbledore, and Draco's wand had fallen to Harry in Malfoy Manor. The wand Voldemort clutched refused its master, its core rebelling against the thief, who never truly won it. The final duel in the Great Hall unfolded in seconds that stretched eternal. The green curse veered, rebounding as Harry's disarming charm struck true. Voldemort's body arched, his Horcrux shattered soul, shrieking as the killing curse met its maker once more. No rebounding this time, no baby spared. Tom Marvolo Riddle crumpled to ash, his quest for eternal life extinguished in a puff of dark smoke that swirled and vanished. The Dark Lord was gone, his fragmented existence ended, leaving only silence in the hall where heroes wept and foes fled into the dawn. In the quiet aftermath of the war, as the sun crested over the battle-scarred castle, the wizarding world exhaled. Bodies were counted, 50 dead, including brave souls like Fred Weasley and Remus Lupin. The toll a scar on a generation, yet from the rubble rose renewal. Kingsley Shacklebolt, that towering auror, with a voice like rolling thunder, took the helm as interim Minister of Magic, his first acts sweeping away the Death Eater corruption. The Muggle-born Registration Commission dissolved overnight, its ledgers burned in public pyres, blood purity laws crumbled, replaced by decrees affirming equality, echoing the Founder's vision from nearly 1,000 years prior. Trials commenced in the cleared halls of the Ministry, once a nest of serpents now purified by justice. Bellatrix Lestrange perished in the frenzy, but others, Lucius Malfoy, Dolores Umbridge, faced Azkaban's reformed cells, Dementors banished forever, replaced by humane wards and truth serums that laid bare their crimes. The International Confederation of Wizards convened, praising Britain's resilience, while global schools like Wagadu and Ilvermorny sent aid, weaving a tapestry of unity long frayed by secrecy. Harry refused fame's glare, vanishing the Elder Wand's location to a hidden grave, white tomb or elder tree, his power laid to rest. He, Ron, and Hermione walked away from the wreckage, lives unfolding in quiet triumph, auror pursets for some, family hearths for others, the veil between worlds mended. The Ministry, reformed under Kingsley's steady hand, evolved into a beacon. Transparency laws unveiled Diagon Alley's commerce to regulated Muggle eyes. Goblin rights treaties quelled old rebellions. Werewolf integration programs honoured men like Lupin. This legacy of the 1,000-year history settled like a gentle ward over the wizarding world. Restoration of peace, a hard-won echo from Godric's Hollow to Hogsmeade's lanterns. Hogwarts rebuilt stronger, its houses united beyond the Sorting Hat's divide. Gryffindor's sword gleaming anew in the headmaster's office under McGonagall's watchful gaze. The international statute of wizarding secrecy softened at the edges, whispers of coexistence daring to surface. Giants roamed freer lands, prejudices faded like old ink, and the Triwizard's flames burned only in memory, a cautionary spark. Generations later, children learn not just spells but stories, of founders who built amid Muggle fires, of Grindelwald's fall in 1945, of Voldemort's twice defeat by love's quiet power. Peace reigned, not as fragile truce, but as the deep hum of a world healed, its ancient heart beating steady into the stars. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.